Breakfast Show. Rise above the noise. The Citi Breakfast Show, the city's biggest conversation.
26 minutes past the hour of 6. Holiday edition, the 6th of March 2025. 68 years of nationhood. And what a way to start. SP Kofi Sapon, a medley of praise songs showing our gratitude to the Lord for a brand new year as a country. Happy birthday, Ghana. And yes, it is the grace of the Lord that has brought us this far as a nation. And we are grateful to the Lord for that particular mercy. And also to our forebears for the role they played. Many generations have fought battles to allow us to get to this stage. It's now our turn to do our best to keep the ship of state moving as citizens and as leaders. And we are doing our bit on radio, using the power of the media to bring a nation together, moving great agendas, following important stories, commending those that need commendation, and criticizing those that need criticism, pointing out flaws, but also celebrating little victories. Well, it's a holiday edition of the show. Today's going to be really interesting. We have some very important conversations to have. Big interviews as we reflect on our independence. And it's actually Bobobo. So we're reflecting, we are reviewing, and we are resetting. You know, when your computer is slow, you do a reset. Sometimes you even go back to factory settings. But you need to reflect, think about the past, harvest the lessons, and you need that for a reset. That's the theme. All that is happening in this month of March. We call it the Heritage Month. And our people have conquered close to 10 regions so far. What a story. For those of you listening from abroad, what do you miss about Ghana? Is it the songs? Is it the food? Is it the people or the places? Well, we've put it all together in the month of March where we celebrate the best of Ghana with our great stories, our great history and tradition. We also have our music and our food featuring in the month. This week we're talking about people of historical significance. We continue that next week with an interesting look at some churches and how they've evolved. But in the third week, it's all about the music. And in the fourth and final week, it's all about the food as we build up to the Back to Your Village Food Festival. It's a 2-day event to celebrate the best of Ghana's food on the 29th and 30th of this month. We'll do our best to give you what you need by way of those who miss Ghana. And those who live in here would portray the best of what we have as we build a nation one day at a time. So I'm going to go into the newspapers shortly. Well, news shortly. News reviews, what we call it. Brought to you by Fidelity Bank. From the dreams of youth to the ambitions of adulthood, wherever you are on life's journey, career, family, business, or future, we are there with you every step of the way. Trust in the journey. Understand that Fidelity Bank is there to make it happen. Together, let's turn your dreams into reality. Fidelity Bank, believe with us. Total Excellium is also proud to be associated with our first segment of the program. An additive and rich new formula with a 3-in-1 action. Cleans your engine, extends its life, and lowers your fuel consumption. Excellium new formula lowers your vehicle's fuel consumption and reduces CO2 emissions. Choose Excellium, choose quality. And where would we be without Piva Beverages? Piva has introduced a new flavor into the city. 5 exotic flavors: the cocktail, the cola, the orange, the grapefruit, and the tangy. Make sure you grab your Piva for this holiday season. Call 0550-032-231 or visit your local store and insist on Piva. This advert is FB approved.
Unleashing the power of relevant radio. This is Citi 97.3.
Looking for a burst of flavor in every sip? Discover the refreshing taste of Piva beverages. Enjoy the classic Piva Cola flavor, perfect fit anytime. How about a fruity adventure? Try our delightful Piva orange fruit drink packed with recognized citrus flavor. Craving something exotic? Our Piva cocktail fruit drink brings the tropics to you. For a sweet and juicy treat, grab our grapefruit drink and don't miss out on the refreshing Piva Tangy fruit drink, bursting with tangy flavor. Piva Cola, Piva Orange, Piva Cocktail, Piva Grape, Piva Tangy. Grab yours today. Available now at your local store. Call us on 055-00-322-31. Piva, a taste you love. This advert is FDA approved.
P for Piva.
Oh, jump on now. Go, the go. Gogomi, at what time will you come back where I don't hear the sound of your car? Why you buy new car?
No, I not change my car. It be the same ride. It be the fuel way I change. Way one shouts it. Ever since I started using the all-new Excellium Premium Fuel, fortified with 3-in-1 action. Oh, Joe, now my car they run like electric car. No, it's so.
This is the type of fuel where they want to. Because now engine they cost. Where they want for way if I buy it, go protect my engine. And with the small way I buy, I go drive, sir.
Absolutely. It's like strapping a turbocharger to your engine and giving it a protector. And what they bust my mind said be the 3-in-1 action, no? Excellium they prevent up to 99% of deposit. It be anti-wear, some be anti-corrosion. One pair way now open there.
Hey, so where can I find this magical fuel?
Just head over to any Total Energy service station and your car will thank you.
Hey, then make a finish my gobe fast, then rush go Total Energies. My friend, but why you hand my gobe inside?
I give you info. Make a feel the gobe too small.
The go.
Excellium is designed to protect your car engine, decrease fuel consumption, and lower CO2 emissions. Don't say fuel, say Excellium. Choose Excellium, choose quality.
My body, when you wake up in the morning, and you know the money calling. Oh, you go work. But you know it's out in your side. If I believe with us, if I hold my hand and believe, cause you know it's out in your side. And when you dream, no say I live by you. And when you hustle every day, many wanna go. Anything you do, I live by you. Many want. If I believe I'm in your side, fidelity. If I believe with us, fidelity. If I know I'm in your side, fidelity.
Unleashing the power of relevant radio. This is Citi 97.3.
The City Breakfast Show. Rise above the noise.
Ghana, we now have freedom. Ghana, land of freedom. Toils of the brave and the sweat of their labors. Toils of the brave which have brought results. Kwame, the star of Ghana. Nkrumah, star of Ghana, everybody toils of the brave and the sweat of their labors, toils of the brave which have brought results. Ghana, we now have freedom. Ghana,
The City Breakfast
land
Show.
of freedom,
Rise above the
everybody
noise.
toils of the brave and the sweat of their labors, toils of the brave which have brought results. Gold Coast will thank Nananum and elders, late Casey Hayford, Mensan Saba, Pa Grant, Sergeant Agete, and all who fought for freedom. Everybody, toils of the brave and the
Toils of the brave and the sweat of their labors.
which have brought results.
And the list is getting longer. Where will you be when the song is sung in 20 years? If it does a remix, or we want to extend the names mentioned: Pa Grant, Pa Willie, Kwame Nkrumah, Sergeant Ajete, Corporal Latipo,
We now have
Private Odate, the Aborigines Rights Protection Groups,
land of freedom
all the women who fought for our
and
independence.
the sweat of their
Some lost their lives, some lost their families, some lost their homes,
which have brought.
some lost their freedom. All in the quest to make us a free and independent, proud people. It's now our turn to contribute our quota. What are you doing to build this nation called Ghana?
Kwame,
That's the question
star of Ghana.
for independence.
Nkrumah, star of Ghana, everybody toils of the brave and the sweat of their labors, toils of the brave which have brought results.
And Mr. Kuda is here, nodding to the song. Nkrumah, the star of Ghana.
Yes, sir.
Kwame, the star of Ghana.
Thank you.
Toils of the brave and the sweat of their labors.
Now have freedom.
This morning, I have very interesting people. I'll be talking to Dr. Nimoy Thompson on many things this morning. The economy, on Kwame Nkrumah, on independence. Then I'll have Chief Mumin
Chief Mumin.
in all his glory.
My goodness.
Chief Mumin is a Kwame Nkrumah man.
Yes, sir.
He will come and do some stuff with us this morning on the show as we reflect, as we review, and as we reset. And of course, this year's independence celebration has been reduced.
Yes.
It has been cut to size.
Thank you.
We are told the budget has been slashed. No more long march pasts and all the standing in the sun. We are in a new era. It must reflect so. Well, we have 20 minutes to 7. We're going to run through some headlines. Caleb has some a news website stories for us. Caleb, what do you have for me this morning?
So this morning, I'll start you off with channel1news.com.
What is there?
There's been an explosion at Odumase, and one person has died. Several are injured, including firefighters themselves. So
this is the
something that's
Odumase
happening-
in Ashanti,
Yes.
near Konongo.
Precisely.
Not the Odumase in the Eastern region.
Thank you very much.
Good.
And then no NDC members stormed Amewu's residence with guns. This is the Hohoi MP saying, local banks must help Ghanaian industries become competitive. Ofusu Ajari is speaking. Independence Day celebration. Government slashes cost by 90%, saves 13.5 million Ghana cedis. Apparently, last year we spent 15 million in putting the Koforidua one together. Now, I have for is rejecting minority caucus's motion on mass revocation of appointments. Unknown gunmen storm Amewu's residence in Hohoi. Contracts of regional zonal coordinators of school feeding terminated.
Okay.
Now to the BOG headquarters. Allegations of irregularities put to rest upon your marking. 2025 Heritage Caravan takes a safari ride at Mole National Park. This was earlier. And still on the new Bank of Ghana headquarters, independent consultancy firm to review project cost. That is the project team saying. And we are told that report suspicions or suspicious activities in relation to romance fraud.
Okay.
Iyoko tells public. And then still on the BOG headquarters, $48 million paid in taxes and levies. This is the BOG. And
in
then
addition to the 261 million cost.
Man.
So it's about 300.
$8.6 million spent on ICT systems, $15.8 million spent on electronics, and $11 million
Which
spent
website are you
on
going
furniture.
to next?
I'm going to citynewsroom.com, Bernard.
What is there?
If I bring you here, the fire incident is also here. Explosion at Konongo. Mining shops kills one, several injured. Job creation, export diversification, crucial for Africa's development. This is the Africa Center for Economic Transformation speaking.
Okay.
Oh, it's peaceful. Don't give it a bad name. Chakpo to Amewu. Independence Day budget cut by 90% here as well. First Deputy Speaker blocks minorities motion on public service terminations. That's also here. And then still a lot more on the BOG. They are all here. Don't make yourself a tool for political football. Upon your marking on the BOG boss this time.
Okay.
I take you to my journal line. One dead, scores injured as deadly explosions rock mining shops in Odumase. Minorities motion to probe post December 7 dismissals blocked. There are less than 60 political appointees at the presidency. This is in response to claims that the presidency has been staffed with staffers who are the most in the Fourth Republic. We are told that they are less than 60. 68th Independence Day celebrations will cost only a tenth of 2024 amount. Kwacho Fosu again. Government size shrinks on paper but grows in reality. So this is Jinapo, and we've given you government's response to that. Armed men allegedly invade Peter Mewu's residence in Hohoi. Program Bako. Definitions bebre.
What do you mean?
Upon Kruma mocks 24-hour economy.
Oh Lord.
Now, Agenda 111 hospitals. Previous government was disingenuous with figures. Dr. Siedu here. Ghana's 68th Independence Day, a reflection of economic realities. Big question here. And China says it is ready for any type of war with the US.
Now
That's
let me do
one.
some other websites for you.
Yeah.
If you go to Star FM, government committed to completing ongoing projects. Kwame Agboja yesterday he visited some important roads. We'll give you that stories later today. Storm hits Ashanti region. Minister vows swift relief for victims. Kade District Court places injunction on 3 information centers. And Mahama returns to Ghana after a state visit to La Côte d'Ivoire.
Yes, please.
Those are some of the stories on Star FM. Meanwhile, Agboja also says we'll complete Suame interchange despite financial constraints. Now, if you go to Class FM, the lead story, I'm operating from the new BOG headquarters. This is Governor Johnson Isiama. He also says approvals were secured for all procurement processes for our new HQ. This is the BOG speaking. Now, President Mahama to visit communities affected by tidal waves on March 6. That's still on that front page. And then, as you read, First Deputy Speaker blocks motion on ongoing recruitment and dismissals in the public service. Those are the stories on classfmonline.com.
Okay.
Well, globally, there's a lot of stories. Donald Trump is in the news for obvious reasons, addressing Congress. And he said something very interesting. He said that Lesotho, nobody has heard of that country, you know. Now, the story from the BBC says Lesotho shocked by Trump's remark that nobody as head of the country.
Trump,
And people were actually laughing.
Oh, Charlie.
Charlie, it's not easy.
Charlie, you people.
You don't have to
The
know geography
only
to do
African
something.
country that has snow. It doesn't know about it.
No, it
It
doesn't.
snows in Lesotho.
Meanwhile,
Trump doesn't.
Europe is at a turning point in history, according to the French president, because US has paused intelligence to Ukraine, and Europe is now thinking of its own security. The question is, what is Africa doing? All right. So I think the big story is, of course, Independence Day is big.
Yeah.
The spokesperson for government says this year's celebration will cost only a tenth of the 2024 amount.
Yeah.
And the story says Minister of State in charge of Government Communications Felix Okwachiofosu has announced that Ghana's 68th independence celebrations will cost only a tenth of the amount spent last year. According to him, this forms part of government's efforts to cut costs and redirect funds to essential sectors.
And that means that 13.5 million Ghana cedis has been saved, as we are learning that last year we spent about 15 million Ghana cedis to pull off what we held at the Koforidua, the Eastern Regional Capital.
He said there were 60 contingents made up of 60 men and women each, amounting to nearly 3,600 participants, along with thousands of children who took part in the parade. However, everything has now been scaled down to just over 500 people, including security personnel and school children who will be performing, he explained. Now, he also assured that the smaller scale event does not diminish the significance of the day, adding that the president remains committed to ensuring the day is observed in a manner that reflects its independence. Now, I want us to stay with Felix Kwachiofosu. You read two headlines, one saying that government presidency size was small,
yes,
and another saying that the size was large.
Yes, so
I don't know where you are.
It was Samuel Abdullahi Jinapo who says government size shrinks on paper but grows in reality. Now, Damongo MP Samuel Abdullahi Jinapo has raised concerns over the president's claim of reducing the size of the government by appointing only 60 ministers and deputies. According to him, while this move has been presented as a step toward efficiency, government has merely shifted appointments to the office of the president, maintaining the same cost burden on the national exchequer. Jinapo pointed out that while the president celebrates the reduction in the number of ministers, he has simultaneously expanded the list of presidential advisors, staffers, and aides, many of whom enjoy the same benefits as ministers, really, but do not undergo parliamentary approval. And then Kwachiofosu on the same website comes to say that there are less than 60 political appointees at the presidency.
So it's in reaction to what Jinapo is saying.
Solid.
All right. Now let's go to this explosion at Dumase in Ashanti. What is really going on? How many people have been injured? I think it's on Channel 1 and Citi Newsroom.
One person has died and several, including firefighters, have been injured. This is channel1news.com. An explosion at shops selling mining explosives in Odumase near Konongo in the Asante Achim Central municipality has left one person dead and several others injured, including firefighters. The incident began with a fire at a shop selling dynamite and other explosives used by local miners, which then triggered an explosion that caused extensive damage to nearby buildings and injured numerous individuals. While the exact cause of the explosion remains unknown, authorities confirmed that a resident lost his life in the blast. Firefighters who rushed to the scene to control the situation also sustained some injuries. Calls for more regulation in the sale.
Let me give you stories pertaining to three key ministries. First one, Gender Ministry terminates contracts of school feeding coordinators. Letitia reporting for Citi News says the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection has terminated the contracts of all regional and zonal coordinators under the Ghana school feeding program with immediate effect. No official reason was provided for the sudden termination. In a statement issued on March 4, Gender Minister Dr. Agnes Momolate announced the decision, expressing gratitude to the affected coordinators for their service. Second story pertains to the Road Ministry.
Right.
And Philip Lati reports on Channel 1 News that the Minister for Roads and Highways, Kwame Govins-Agboja, has directed contractors working on the Ofankor to Nsawam Junction Rehabilitation Project to ensure that the stretch remains motorable to commuters. He stressed that the contractor must continuously grade and water the road to provide relief for motorists.
Thank you.
His directive follows complaints from some drivers and road users about the deteriorating condition of the road and the slow progress of the project. Now, during a media interview while inspecting the stretch on Wednesday, Kwame Govins-Agboja assured that the government will ensure the necessary funding is provided for the timely completion of the project. Let me quote him. The president is committed to completing all ongoing projects so long as the fiscal space and financing can be made available by the finance minister. Like you heard at the economic forum, we are not in a good place financially. Despite that, we are committed to completing this project because this is another priority project. Meanwhile, the manager of the project, Engineer Abdullah Mahama, explained the issues with compensation, relocation of utilities, and other challenges contributed to the delay in the road's completion. We'll deal with this later.
Yes, Bernard, I'm going to bring you 3 stories relating to the Bank of Ghana head office. So Citi Business News has a very beautiful infographic that gives you all the details breakdown. So cost breakdown of new BOG headquarters. So the initial cost was $81 million.
All right.
Then there were variations. There was an evaluation and it came to 121 million from 81 to 121. Then there was redesigning. We moved from 121 to 222 million dollars. Then eventually statutory security and sustainability evaluations and considerations came in and we got to 261 million US dollars. So the total cost before tax was 261 million dollars.
Okay.
So far, amount paid contractors is 230 million. Outstanding is 31 million dollars. Now we paid some taxes. Now separate contracts awarded. Furniture and before I do this, the taxes and levies paid came up to $48.3 million. This is cost of land totally borne by government, AESL to conduct value for money audit, and completion rate is 98%. These are some other details.
Okay.
But if I give you separate contracts awarded, furniture and fittings, $11.1 million. Integrated electronic system, $15.8 million. ICT network, $8.6 million. Now here's the other story I want to bring you on this particular angle. Daily Graphic Online, we are told that a painter has been remanded for allegedly stealing cables worth over 1 million Ghana cedis at the new Bank of Ghana headquarters.
You can't be serious.
Charlie,
A painter
has been remanded for allegedly stealing cables worth over 1 million Ghana cedis. Charlie, unbelievable. So here are the details. A painter working on the Bank of Ghana building at Rage in Accra has been remanded into police custody for stealing quantities of assorted copper cables valued at 1,035,500 Ghana cedis. Appearing at an Accra Circuit Court, Ahmed Mohamed Lawal was nabbed after CCTV camera was reviewed. Lawal has pleaded not guilty on charges of unlawful entry and stealing. Now, 2 other accomplices are said to be at large. Police say efforts are being made to apprehend Lawal's accomplices. You know, at Kolebu also, we are told that some persons went to steal copper cables like that, which is going to risk the lives of patients and things like that. I don't know how.
Now, staying with the BOG story, the final story that makes sense here is that they said they'll conduct a value for money audit through AESL on the new HQ. So the Bank of Ghana has hinted of commissioning the Architectural Engineering Services Limited, AESL, to conduct a value for money audit on this $261 million headquarters project. So there you have it. Now let's move on. I have another story here. Local banks must help Ghanaian industries.
Very important.
Ofusue Jari. So Minister of Trade, Agribusiness and Industry, Elizabeth Ofusue Jari, has stressed the need for local banks to provide financial support to Ghanaian industries to boost their competitiveness and market expansion. Speaking on the point of view, yesterday she addressed concerns from industry stakeholders about challenges in securing adequate financing. So that's a story from yesterday or 2 days ago.
But a quick one, international. China says it is ready for any type of war with the US. BBC reports
Any type of war.
Any type. Style BAB. China has warned the US it is ready to fight any type of war after hitting back against President Donald Trump's mounting trade tariffs. The world's 2 top economies have edged closer to a trade war after Trump slapped more tariffs on all Chinese goods. China quickly retaliated, imposing 10 to 15% tariffs on US farm products. Quote, "If war is what the US wants, be it a tariff war, a trade war, or any other type of war, we are ready to fight it till the end. China's embassy said on X, reposting a line from a government statement on Tuesday. It is some of the strongest rhetoric so far from China since Trump became president, and comes as leaders gathered in Beijing for the annual National People's Congress. On Wednesday, China's Premier Li Qiang announced that China would again boost its defense spending by 7.2% this year, and warned that changes unseen in a century were unfolding across the world at a faster pace.
Meanwhile, EU leaders are gathered in Brussels today for a special council of defense, as France's President Emmanuel Macron warned that the continent was at, quote, a turning point of history, unquote. Now, they are going to discuss rearmament, how the EU can further support Ukraine in the face of President Trump's announcement on Monday that he will suspend aid to Ukraine. Ukrainian president is invited to the summit, and basically Europe is not comfortable and not sure what the US is doing. And then, of course, the US president, in typical fashion, has questioned where even Lesotho is. I don't even know how that even came up. So apparently President Trump's statement has annoyed the Lesotho people, but they are not responding aggressively. Lesotho's government says it is shocked by US President Donald Trump saying that nobody has ever heard of that South African nation. Trump, addressing the US Congress in his first speech since his return to the Oval Office, made the reference as enlisted cuts to what he said was wasteful expenditure. But look at this. You see what some people have been saying, Samuel George and Co. $8 million to promote LGBTQ plus in the African nation of Lesotho, which nobody has ever heard of, according to Trump. Now, so this is the issue. If part of the statement we all know is false, then can the first part also be false?
Very, very likely.
Because we've all heard of Lesotho except Trump, obviously.
Very, very likely.
So is it true that $8 million was actually sent to Lesotho to promote LGBTQ plus? And then a spokesperson for Lesotho's Foreign Affairs Department told the BBC that Lesotho enjoyed warm and cordial relations with the US.
Oh my God.
Oh, Charlie. Meanwhile, in the background, Lesotho is one of the biggest beneficiaries of US Africa Growth and Opportunity Act, AGOA, which gives favorable trade access to some countries to promote their economic growth. According to US government, the two countries traded goods worth $240 million in 2024. Mostly exports from Lesotho to the US, in particular textiles and clothing. So actually, the US has been a good market for Lesotho. So they'll take it like that and move on. Now, Lesotho's foreign minister said it was shocking to hear a head of state refer to another sovereign state in that manner. You know, but don't worry. Once $240 million is available, we'll take it like that.
We don't mind. We'll maintain friendly and warm relations.
City Business News is next. Netele Nete is here in her holiday hairstyle.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
This is the Citi Breakfast Show, the city's biggest conversation.
Citi Business News brought to you by EcoBank. A few announcements from EcoBank. Don't be scammed this festive season. Fraud activities are on the rise. That's why we're advising all customers to be extra vigilant. Don't trust phone calls, text messages that want to elicit personal information from you. Bank account details can only be updated at an EcoBank branch. Your mobile app can only be upgraded at an app store or the Play Store. Don't share your password, your PIN or OTP or card information with any person via phone. When in doubt or feeling secure, call EcoBank on 0800 003225 toll free.
The Citi Breakfast Show. Rise above the noise.
So Netele Neti Ajaho is here with Citi Business News. Good morning.
Good morning, Bernard, and good morning out there. Welcome to the breakfast edition of the Citi Business News. The bulletin is proudly brought to you by EcoBank, MTN and Goyle. I am Netele Neti Ajaho. Coming up, government eyes new taxes in key sectors ahead of maiden budget presentation of the new Mahama administration, and also more SOEs to be listed on the stock exchange to boost efficiency. This according to the trade minister. And later, GCB Bank PLC posts profits, grows total assets by 58% in 2024. Thanks for joining us. The details now. Government is likely to introduce new taxes on key sectors including financial services as it seeks alternative revenue streams in its maiden budget statement scheduled for March 11, 2025. The move follows promise by the Mahama administration to abolish the 1% e-levy, the COVID-19 levy, and the 10% levy on betting winnings. Areas such as mining, telecom, and real estate could face fresh levies, as hinted by former Finance Minister Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam. These anticipated fiscal measures are expected to feature prominently in the maiden presentation by the new administration. Daniel Odrumensa has more in the following report.
The abolition of these taxes, as promised by the government within its first 100 days in office, particularly the e-levy and COVID-19 tax, is projected to result in a total revenue loss of 22.15 billion Ghana cedis between this year and 2027. The e-levy, originally forecast to generate 2.1 billion Ghana cedis last year, is now expected to yield 2.4 billion Ghana cedis in 2025, while the COVID-19 levy is projected to contribute 3.97 billion Ghana cedis, up from 3.1 billion Ghana cedis last year. While the government has assured there will be no new taxes in the upcoming budget, tax analysts believe otherwise. Francis Timoboy has been speaking to CNR Business.
The last time they reduced the communication service tax to 5%, maybe they will want to touch a little bit there and see how they can reap a little more. You and I know that they've preached on, or they keep promising that the e-levy will go. The total revenue for 2025 is around 2.4 billion Ghana cedis. And so I think that when they take it off, these VAT on financial services are likely to come into, cover the revenue that we may lose from the e-levy.
The tax analysts also called on the government to engage with stakeholders from the sectors likely to be affected by the imposition of new levies.
In terms of going forward, I think the advice will be that if you are taking some of the exemptions away, there could be some resistance. So by now, the expectation is that we should have, engaged or thrown it out there for those who will be affected to start discussing the impact. And so stakeholder engagement, I think, is very key. We need to engage the people. Again, as GR is going to embark on compliance, there's the likelihood that there'll be some friction. People may see the compliance measures as, intimidation. So we expect some fruitful engagement by the tax authorities.
Meanwhile, the Ghana Real Estate Developers Association, GREDA, has petitioned the Minister of Finance, Dr. Kasiel Atuforsen, urging him to reconsider the proposed 5% value-added tax on immovable properties, calling for more targeted and equitable taxation measures.
It is of our view that in the name of affordable housing, access to affordable housing or housing in general, this VAT, if it is completely removed, that would have been the ultimate desire of GREDA or real estate developers in the country. However, we are also mindful of the fact that government needs to collect some revenue, and so we have proposed a two-tier proposal to government to consider.
You heard the Executive Director for the Ghana Real Estate Developers Association, that's GREDA, Samuel Amegaibo, ending that report filed by my colleague Daniel Odrumensa. Now, the Africa Center for Economic Transformation is calling for deliberate policy measures to drive Ghana's economic transformation. The think tank observes that the country's progress in structural transformation has deteriorated over the years, urging strategic reforms to accelerate sustainable growth. Senior Director of Research and Policy Engagement with the Africa Center for Economic Transformation, Dr. Edward Brown, has been speaking to the media on the sidelines of a media briefing on the country economic transformation outlook on Ghana.
The main highlight is that economic transformation in Ghana has been deteriorating, and there's the need to reset, just as the government is talking about, and to be more intentional on focusing on what really matters for the economy to transform. And we see that the country's economy is not diversifying. It's still very much dependent on primary commodities, exports and production. It is not competitive, and productivity has not really improved, and even more so, human well-being, which there has been some progress, is stagnating. So there's the need for a much more focused, intentional effort.
Dr. Edward Brown is Senior Director of Research and Policy Engagement with ASSET. Meanwhile, President and CEO of ASSET, Mavis Owusu Jimfi, has emphasized that the headline growth must translate into tangible economic benefits for businesses and households.
If you dig those minerals from the ground and you sell it and your data says you are growing, but that growth has not generated jobs, is it worth it? If that growth has not generated increased incomes for your people, is it worth it? If that growth has not generated revenue for you to invest in health and education and the other services, is it worth it? Okay, so that's the first question for us. This thing, we have a hang up about growth and we are growing. And then the good thing is that there's now consensus across Ghana that growth is not enough. We need to transform our economies.
That was President and CEO of the Africa Center for Economic Transformation, Mavis Owusu Jimfi. Now, GCB Bank PLC has reported its financial results for 2024. The bank posted a profit before tax of 1.91 billion Ghana cedis, marking a 25.3% increase year-on-year. Despite a challenging economic landscape and regulatory changes affecting liquidity, GCB demonstrated resilience with revenue rising by 19%. This was driven by 19.02% growth in interest income and 42.72% surge in non-funded income and an 8.41% increase in net trading income. GCB's strategic focus on sales and customer engagement fueled its balance sheet expansion, with total assets soaring by 58% to 42.58 billion Ghana cedis. This gave the bank an 11.58% share of its industry's total assets. The loan book also grew significantly by 52.83%. Commenting on the results, Managing Director of GCB Bank, Mr. Farihan Al-Hassan, stated that these results represent the best for performance of the bank. However, they recognize areas where they need improvements. The performance notwithstanding, there's still room for improvement in their efficiency metrics. The Minister for Trade and Agribusiness and Industry, Elizabeth Ofosu-Ejari, has hinted at plans by the government to list more state-owned enterprises on the stock market as part of efforts to enhance efficiency and reduce their financial burden on the state. This follows growing concerns that the inefficiencies of some SOEs are draining the national purse and affecting fiscal stability. Speaking at the just-ended National Economic Dialogue, Ofosu-Ejari assured that steps are being taken to restructure and improve the performance of these enterprises to ensure long-term sustainability.
One thing I'm also willing to work with them is the coordination within the agencies. In the Ministry of Trade, Agribusiness and Industry is the BRR unit. That unit coordinates business registration and things like that. They don't have the backing, so we are coming up with an act to make sure that the things that they ask for, the agencies are required by law to provide for them. If it happens like that, business can be done expeditiously. SOEs, Abna was emphatic. She spent time with me before the discussion that the best way to go is to list them. Abna, I've heard it. I'm sure that government will look at listing SOEs and make sure that we get some of our funding locally. That's the only way our pension funds will grow for us to get good pensions.
That was the Minister for Trade, Agribusiness and Industry, Elizabeth Ofosu-Ejari. Now let's go into the forex market, where the dollar is trading at 15 cedis 55 pesos. The British pound is going for 19 cedis 50 pesos and the euro for 16 cedis 40 pesos. And that's it for the breakfast edition of the City Business News. It was brought to you by EcoBank, MTN and GOIL. I am Netili Neti Ajahu. For more news, visit citynewsroom.com/business news.
Every day, people have money emergencies. Ma, I need my school fees. Mommy chop money. Cratchet, mommy my rent. Emergency, emergency. Now, there's a new emergency number in town. More money, challenge and enjoyment. At the top life we got. Dial *770# for money emergencies and chop life.
For emergency access to your bank accounts, transfers, utility payments, loans, and more, dial *770#. Bank on the go even without data with EcoBank's short code for digital banking. EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank. Join the conversation on the City Breakfast Show on Facebook at facebook.com/City97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/City973, and Instagram at instagram.com/City973 with the hashtag CityCBS.
The City Breakfast Show. Rise above the noise.
30 minutes past 7. Oh, we're enjoying ourselves. Independence Day. I don't know what is about Independence Day that makes old songs sound great. You know, maybe the nostalgia of the 50s and the early 60s. And they used to do ballroom dancing. And there was a lot of commentary around the songs. And the national king, E.T. Mensah. Enjoy, enjoy. So on and on we go. Kickoff is coming up shortly and it's brought to us by Lesheho. The Lesheho Don't Call Me campaign has come to you because you deserve financial peace. Life comes with challenges, but with Lesheho, you don't have to face them alone. From now to April 30, we've reduced the interest rate just for you. Whether it's education, rent, or unexpected expenses, we've got the right loan to meet your needs. Simply WhatsApp or call Nana on 0270-040-799 or 0270-040-733. Let's make life easier together. Act now before the offer ends. Terms and conditions apply. Lesheho, let's improve life. And from planning date nights to making your kids happy with the latest toy and ice cream, these seemingly little things make all the difference in creating lasting memories. Good times start at Shell, where you can fill up on more than just fuel. You can fill up on love, laughter, and sumptuous bites and treats from other partner vendors. Juicy chicken, or filling burgers, snacks, a space to just unwind. Trust me, you'll find it all at Shell. While you're enjoying yourself with family and friends, your car also gets the love it deserves at the Shell service station and wash bay. It's one roof for everything. Visit Shell today. Go well. Edwin Kwakufi is here. Kickoff is next. And what are the big stories?
Well, Bernard, it's Thursday morning and welcome aboard to Kickoff on the City Breakfast Show with me, Edwin Kwakufi. Coming up.
Darwin Nunez causing consternation here. And Harvey Elliott. Harvey the hero for Liverpool. Arne Slot's.
Harvey's the hero for Liverpool, and his first touch turned into a big moment for Liverpool, who beat PSG at the Parc des Princes in their first leg of their UEFA Champions League tie. We'll bring you some reactions from the game, and we also take you to Kumasi, where the final funeral rites of Kotoko superfan Yao Frimpong are taking place this morning at the Heroes Park. Kickoff is powered by Shell, Shell Go Well, Zonda GH, and Lesheho. Let's improve life. Let's start with some news from the Ghana Premier League, which returns tomorrow. And African football expert Nuhu Adams believes that clubs must take responsibility for ensuring safety at their grounds and deploy adequate stewards at match venues to prevent a recurrence of the tragic incident at the Nana Konamansa Park. Here's Nuhu Adams, who was speaking yesterday on Channel 1 TV's Football Made in Ghana.
After this weekend matches, I will still want to see the next 2 weekends matches or the next 2 weeks matches before I can say the clubs learn something or not. Because yes, they can use this weekend as a camouflage, do everything on point. But when we get to the other weekends where then they hear the 3 points seriously, hey, these things we will come and talk different thing altogether. So I want to see 3 weeks or 3 match days before I can say the clubs have learned or not.
That was African football expert Nuhu Adams. Staying with the Ghana Premier League, and the public relations officer for Legon City's Kwame Jumo Ajima outlined the additional steps the club are taking to secure the Legon Stadium as their home venue for the remainder of the campaign. He also spoke yesterday on Channel 1's Pidgin TV show Football Made in Ghana.
But the Climate Licensing Committee too, on the back of what happened for infrastructure, then can do some inspection for the same venue. I mean, the same venue all of us have seen being used for the Ghana Premier League. Then say we provide some things. They are not saying that, and let me just clarify this, because as you say that before they go around. They know they talk say the stadium no be good, but we provide some things where it go meet a certain kind of standard before we go use the venue. So we play for the Legon Sports Stadium now. If we provide those things there, then obviously then go make we play for them. We get stadium, then we get stadium.
Oh, okay.
I'm not saying it will be a bit conflicting small. So a stadium that is used for a certain kind of competition, then say we provide, I mean, there are lots of things. I mean, if I say I go through, it will take all the time. But there are key things for, let's say, Premier League matches. So the pitch in itself not necessarily be the problem.
Okay.
But other security measures, if you count the Legon Stadium before, I mean, between the fans, then the pitch, then say we up the security for that level.
That was the public relations officer for Ghana Premier League club, Legon City's Kwame Jumo Ajiman. Well, today at the Heroes Park in Kumasi, the funeral of Kumasi Asante Kotoko superfan Yao Frimpong, known fondly as Nana Pole, will take place this morning. The news is that GFA boss Keto Kreku will be in attendance together with some EXCO members, Regional Football Association chairman, and some club executives to show support and solidarity to Asante Kotoko. Well, Kotoko will be in action later tomorrow when they take on Legon Cities at home. Hearts of Oak hosts Young Apostles. Karela United welcome Basake Holy Stars. Mediama face Bechim United. Gold Stars take on Nations FC. Vision FC face Hearts of Lions. Brekum Chelsea take on Accra Lions. Dreams FC face Idiana. And in Swatriman take on FC Samatex. Now, the Ghana Football Association President Keto Kreku has reaffirmed the association's commitment to deepening its partnership with Decathlon Ghana following a recent contract extension. Speaking on the renewed agreement, Kreku expressed his excitement about the ongoing collaboration and its potential for future growth.
Football boots cannot be found everywhere. Football whistles cannot be found everywhere. If it could be found, you wouldn't see young kids playing on grassless pitches without a referee in the middle. That's how important your contribution to Ghana sports and Ghana football is. As we go on this journey, you can continue to count on my leadership, my integrity, my trust, the integrity of the Football Association, and I'm bold to say that the Football Association of Ghana is perhaps the best organized sports institution in Ghana that you can trust. And we will continue with your support on this journey to bring confidence to the private sector, to see the example you have set, to also join forces with us and to do business with Decathlon in joint partnership on this journey.
Keto Kriko is the president of the Ghana Football Association. Now let's head to Europe. Well, Liverpool completed one of the biggest smash and grabs in Champions League history as Harvey Elliott's late goal helped them come away from their last 16 first leg against PSG with a win. PSG completely dominated the game with 27 shots, but they found Liverpool goalkeeper Alisson to be an impenetrable wall. Let's hear from Liverpool's man of the match.
I just want to start with the stat. You made 9 saves. I'm not talking about how many times you had the ball, but 9 saves, and you stopped 9 goals. No Liverpool goalkeeper has ever made 9 saves in a game like this. How do you feel about that?
That's some stat. To be honest, I think stats are really good to show a part of the game, but I think is even more, as we were speaking before, so many actions today. I have to be on my toes to help the team. But also, like sometimes when you give away too many chances, looks like you are working badly defensively. But the biggest amount of the chances they had always was on player on the ball, trying to block the shots that makes the goalkeeper's job a little bit easier. But yeah, I was ready. The manager was talking about this week so many times that they are really good, that they are a proper threat for the defenders. So I was ready for tonight.
That was Liverpool's man of the match against PSG last night, Alisson Becker. In Portugal, Rafinha was once again Barcelona's hero as they claimed a narrow win over Benfica in the first leg of their Champions League last 16 tie, despite going down to 10 men. Let's hear from Barcelona boss Hansi Flick speaking after the game.
Today I think I'm very happy how we played. So it's also with the ball it was very good, and also we pressed very high, and we deserved also the result.
What do you think about the Red Star after the game? What do you think about the Red Star after the game now?
No, it's the same. They play football. This I love, and also they have really fast strikers. So it's not easy to defend that. But at the end, we are much stronger today.
The thoughts of Barcelona boss Hansi Flick. Bayern Munich also have one foot in the quarterfinals of the competition after a Harry Kane double helped them to a comfortable win against 10-man Bayer Leverkusen. Let's hear from Harry Kane.
How satisfied are you with this first important step?
Yeah, really big step in the right direction, you know. We know we've struggled against this side over the last couple of years. They're a really good team. But from the first minute, I thought the focus was top from everyone. We brought the intensity. We knew at the Allianz it would be a different game to the last game we played, and we showed that all through the 90 minutes. So yes, half the job done. It's a good half. But of course, now we look forward to the next week.
That was Bayern Munich forward Harry Kane. Finally in Holland, Lautaro Martinez scored a landmark goal as Inter Milan took a commanding lead against Feyenoord. It was the Argentines' 18th goal in the competition. Tonight there are some Europa League matches coming up. AZ Alkmaar take on Tottenham. Star Bucharest face Lyon. Real Sociedad take on Manchester United. Ajax face Frankfurt. AS Roma take on Athletic Bilbao. In the Conference League, FC Copenhagen hosts Chelsea. Let's wrap up with some tennis, and Petra Kvitova is still awaiting her first win since returning from having a baby after losing 6-4, 3-6, 4-6 to Francis Varvara Grecheva at the BNP Paribas Open in Indian Wells. Kvitova, who returned from a 17-month break last month after giving birth to a son, Petr, ran out of steam in a seesaw battle which lasted 2 hours and 23 minutes. And that's the latest in the world of sports. For more on all these stories, visit citysportsonline.com. We also bring you updates on X on at City Sports GHA and on YouTube at City Sports Ghana. Kickoff is powered by Shell Go Well, Zonda GH, and Lesheho. Let's improve life. I am Edwin Kwakofi. The City Breakfast Show with Bernard Avler continues.
It's not just a service station. It's a place you get more for every visit. It's not just a place to fill your tank. It's a place to fulfill your cravings. From chicken to chocolate, caramel or the tasty latte. It's not just a place to service your car. It's the perfect place to wash your ride. It's a place where convenience, love, friendship, joy, and laughter assemble. Because it all starts at Shell. Visit Shell today and enjoy a wide array of services and offers under one roof. It starts at Shell.
Services, innovative financial solutions. We deliver on our promise, cause we are number one. Let's go, we improve your life. Even when you're stuck with nothing, no matter your situation, let's go, we improve your life. Let's go, let's go, let's go, hey mama, hey mama, hey mama. Let's go, we improve your life.
Join the conversation on the City Breakfast Show on Facebook at facebook.com/City97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/City973, and Instagram at instagram.com/City973 with the hashtag CityCBS.
From back in the day, when Afro hair was trending and children had to queue to play Kojo's video game, Fun Milk was always irresistible. Today, it's an after-school source of refreshment. For you stuck in traffic and for us looking to cool off under the sun, the invitation is always that sound. So, whatever your choice, Fun Milk quality product keeps you cool and refreshed. Fun Milk triggers so much fun and excitement with just a blast of a horn. Fun Milk, spreading joy to everyone. This advert is FDA approved.
What's your dream this year? To pull up in a brand new 4-wheel ride? Or you want to travel? Where? Sentosa Island in Singapore? Or Desert Safari in Dubai? Come to Dubai. Or you want a laptop, microwave, brand new phone, TV? Chale, what you want, you can get with SG Ghana. Minya Ubecha 7Y. Join the SG Ghana Deposit and Drive promo and you could win the grand prize of a brand new Toyota RAV4. Simply deposit 500 Ghana cedis or multiples of it into your SG Ghana account from now till 30th May 2025. Non-customers can open an account to participate. Visit your nearest branch or call 0302-214-314 for further inquiries. This promo is regulated by the National Lottery Authority on the Caritas Lottery platform. Terms and conditions apply. Societe Generale Ghana. The future is you.
This March, we invite you to splash in the pool of cultural expression and soak yourself in a celebration of indigenous authenticity in our Heritage Month. Join us for the Heritage Month launch on Friday, February 28th as we kick off a month of unforgettable experiences. Pack your bags for the Heritage Caravan, a week-long adventure across Ghana from March the 2nd to the 9th.
It's an opportunity to see Ghana in a more beautiful, and the people, the connection, incredible.
Discover the beauty and history of our land. Savor the flavors at the Back to Your Village Food Festival, a culinary extravaganza on March the 29th and 30th.
The millet tozafi, the corn tozafi, we have the tubani, we have the wache, we have the dawadawa jollof rice. We also serve the local northern beverages, that's pito and zonko.
Taste the essence of Ghana.
The first one I was here, the second one I was here, the third one I was here, this one and the fourth one. And it's not just a bazaar, it's a festival now. And I'm so excited because this is what we should be doing.
Tune in to the Heritage On Air series on 97.3 Citi FM and Channel 1 TV each week.
Owusu is a general account name. It's Dev's character. Owusubain. So that is why the appellation is Owusu Eduam. You see, when an asante is Eduam, it means something that belongs to him. So Dev's character, he comes to you and grabs you as if it belongs to him.
Delve into what makes us Ghanaians. The Heritage On Air series is sponsored by the National Lotteries Authority. Explore our places of interest, feel the rhythm of our music, journey through our religious history, and indulge in our indigenous Ghanaian food. Join us to celebrate our heritage in this Heritage Month, where every moment is a story. Only on Channel 1 TV and 97.3 Citi FM.
Toils of the brave and the sweat of their labors, toils of the brave which have brought results.
Did you know that worms take away nutrients from the food you eat? Just listen to them.
Brothers, yesterday the food nice, huh?
Oh yeah. The Choba woman there, she did try wa.
Charlie, something come on. Eat food.
It did taste like banana.
Eh, make a taste some. Make me try a taste. Make a taste. Hey, something is doing me.
Something is doing me too.
Oh, it be Vermox.
Vermox banana flavored dewormer is available in both suspension and tablet and is suitable for children and adults. It's good for you, bad for worms. Not recommended for children under 2 years and pregnant women. This advert is FDA approved.
Join the conversation on the Citi Breakfast Show on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag CitiCBS.
This is the Citi Breakfast Show, the city's biggest conversation. The Citi Breakfast Show. Rise above the noise.
Shitam liesrotwe, bakpo shita kojimba. Amadam liesrotwe, akmantu kampema. Yele huna kainon, pasajo kele bleko. Eka fe bois ke fe komi, yemli srotwe yemli. Ade boni bi fiale srotwe yemli. Srotwe yemli. Yemli srotwe yemli.
This is Citi 97.3.
Mangumli asrotwe, waya beno kedodoa. Akutumli asrotwe, dije manteke bisa. Akwaduna kainon, adu krom kakrokon. Eko fenko kenangomo, yemli srotwe yemli. Ade boni bi fiale srotwe yemli. Srotwe yemli srotwe babao, srotwe yemli. leko nawa. Ngomo leko emeleo. Ngomo leko eshashia. Ngomo leko enoko. No ye no gbiko sroto yemli. Adeboni bi fiare sroto yemli. Sroto yemli. Emily sroto babao sroto Emily.
Jenekenji boni obami ohe finakpe. Jenekenji boni okami ohe sape. Jenekenji boni obami ohe finakpe. Jenekenji boni okami ohe sape. Nkusembado, 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 nkusembado. Utama moko nyos moshranga wo. Nkusembado. Nkusembado, 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 nkusembado. Utama moko nyos moshranga wo. Nkusembado. Jenekenji boni ubami ohe finakpe. Jenekenji boni ukami ohe sape. Jenekenji boni ubami ohe finakpe. Jenekenji boni ukami ohe sape. Nkusembado, 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 nkusembado. Utama moko nyos moshranga wo. Nkusembado. Nkusembado, nkusembado, nkusembado.
The City Breakfast Show. Rise above the noise.
Nkusembado.
Unleashing the power of relevant radio. This is City 97.3.
"41 after 7. Imagine cruising on this holiday in your Volkswagen while listening to good music like the Rumblers. Knock on wood. My goodness. Volkswagen wants to be part of that very moment. Great time. Every great man and woman celebrating the independence of your nation. Cruising around town. We want to be there when you start your new family, when you arrive on time for your important social gatherings, when hastening to resolve an emergency at home or work. The new Terramont will carry all your special moments in this renowned spacious 7-seater. Boy, I love this one. It's 3.6 liter V6 petrol engine producing maximum power of about 280 horsepower. Be sure you'll be at home and work quicker than expected. It's now selling at 712,000 Ghana cedis. You're gonna knock on wood, bruh. Join us on Saturday, 1st March 2025 for a brand new experience. Enjoy a test drive for all our cars at the Accra International Conference Center at 9 a.m. That happened a bit earlier, but call us or WhatsApp us 025-795-6688. More information about our range of models. We have the Vetus, the T-Cross, the T1 Allspace, the Terramont, the Amarok pickup. I love the T1. I love the Vetus. I'm not sure which one I don't like. Any of them you find, you are in luck. So hurry while stock lasts. T's and C's apply. Volkswagen, rise and thrive. Financial freedom. Just as we are celebrating our political freedom today, financial freedom, peace of mind, smooth retirement planning, etc. are all nice phrases to hear, right? But listen, at Old Mutual, they are not just mere phrases. They are part of our DNA, our very being. So whether it is making sure that your child's education is taken care of when you're no more, ensuring lives, or saving to start a business or preparation for retirement, Old Mutual is that insurance company that cares for what really matters to you most, being that friend in these uncertain times. Join us today. Call us 030-7600 030-7600. Visit oldmutual.com.gh for more information. Old Mutual, do great things every day. Come on, come on. Rumblers. Next time you fly from Accra, why don't you fly better with Emirates? And then you can be listening to this song in your headphones, man. In Emirates economy, you can enjoy endless entertainment on board with up to 6,500 channels to choose from. Yep, you heard right. 6,500 channels. Sit back, relax, watch the latest Hollywood and Bollywood blockbusters, comedy box sets, or even live sports. You can even stay connected with onboard Wi-Fi so you can chat with your friends and family and share holiday selfies from 40,000 feet above sea level. And some of you are big ballers. While you're on your flight, you are doing some work, you are putting your invoices together and some budgets, and you are doing your conferences and all those things. It all happens in the Emirates economy. It's easy like that. It's good like that. Be the baller you are. It's premium or nothing. Go for Emirates economy, bro. No, you're a big boy. You're a big girl. So go for Emirates economy. Enjoy more convenience and flexibility to over 140 destinations within the Emirates Global Network. Find out more at emirates.com. Have you heard the good news? Oh my God. SG's Ghana will help you not. SG Ghana. No, we are giving away lots and lots of amazing prizes, including a brand new luxurious Toyota RAV4 Adventure in the SG Ghana Deposit and Drive promo. Charlie, ask them, tell me that I know if you believe that. Why they go on? It is happening. You simply deposit 500 Ghana cedis or multiples of it into your SG Ghana account. You stand a chance of winning big, and you can knock. My goodness. Non-customers can open an account to participate from now till 30th May 2025. Oh yeah. You can win amazing prizes, including trips to Singapore or Dubai, home appliances, or the ultimate prize, a brand new Toyota RAV4 from Toyota Ghana Limited. Minia, ube traseve wate. Especially those of you who live in Bechile and those places, your roads are bad. You need this Toyota RAV4. But simply deposit multiples of 500 Ghana cedis into your SG account, and you stand a chance of knock. Oh my God. The more you deposit, the better your chances of winning. So join the SG Ghana Deposit and Drive promo today. Visit your nearest branch. Call 0302-214-314 for more inquiries. It's a promo that's regulated by the NLA on its Caritas Lottery platform. Terms and conditions apply. Societe Generale, the future is you. Now in a Ramblers original, wow, it came Bethany. Yeah, that's what I want to say. Anytime I hear Ramblers and this particular one, I I remember Amazia Edu, Otima's mother. Amazia Edu, my goodness. You can boogie. She is 70 with a swag. Auntie Amazia, good morning to you. This is to you and all your folks from Achimota School. Do the dance. Enjoy the holiday. Rumblers. Bethany. I'm trying to get understanding to this song, but they say better is better, the English one, than Bethany. So maybe Vivian will help me understand. Good morning, Vivian Kailoko. This new year, let your journey be worry-free, okay? Renew or buy a brand new motor insurance policy with Provident Insurance from January to March 2025. Enjoy exciting rewards, including fuel coupons and exclusive Provident souvenirs. If you need assistance, chat with Obaya, our friendly WhatsApp assistant, on 0242 426396 0242 426396. She will sort you out, baby, anywhere, anytime. Visit any of our 15 branches nationwide. Provident Insurance, your reliable partner for 43 years, keeping you covered every mile of the way. Don't miss out on this special offer. Chat or buy now. Visit any of our branches, agents or brokers today, and you will sing Bethany. Hey. Come on. T's and C's apply. With Provident, man, you are covered. Bernardino, good morning. Happy birthday to Madame Dora Tichiwa Apreku of PCG Emmanuel Congregation Boso. From all your children, Akosia, Kwabna, Oreku, Ama, and the entire family. We're proud of you, Mama Dora. Happy birthday to Tori Obesibia Clara. From your dad, Sergeant Eric Tori. Grow in the wisdom of God. Good morning, Bernard and Kayla. Please, are we going to... Okay. Take your time.
Okay, let me give you another one.
Yes, please.
Happy birthday to Kofi Adabo Ofori Amanfo of LMI Homes from the entire Ofori Amanfo family.
Happy birthday to the Busia paying of the Mfanspim Old Boys Association and the Chief Executive Officer of the Margins Group of Companies, Moses Kwesi Bading Jr. Oh yes. Waya Meridian, your Margins Group. And this is coming from Franklin Bedu Jr. and the entire Moba family. Happy birthday, sir. Happy birthday to my mom, Madame Florence Kwafu of Domi Pillar 2, from your son Joe and his siblings. Mommy, live long. Thank you. Now, Umar Sanda Amadou joins us on the phone lines. We are going on the Heritage Caravan to vicariously enjoy, to participate in the enjoyment, albeit via phone. Sanda joins us. I'm sure they are down to Sunyani now. Okay, good morning, Sanda. Can you hear me?
Good morning, Caleb. I can hear you vicariously.
Oh, Charlie, but you are chilling too much. I've been watching you people. I'm missing out.
Life is short. Life is short. Why are you lamenting? Why are you reading the book of Lamentations on Independence Day?
I promised to fix the heritage caravan, but I mean lamenting since because I've been watching you chill without me.
But it serves you right. You have gone to Windhoek. You
It's
have
okay.
gone to Kigali. You have gone. Where haven't you? You are an international tourist.
That one is Abonti. That one is Abonti. Your own is internal. You understand? This is where the chilling is.
Caleb, you don't enjoy the way we enjoy over here.
No, but
we get everything from.
That's the whole point. That's the whole point. Because I saw you at Paga. Some people were posing with crocodiles. Hey, I couldn't try that. You guys have been to the Mole National Park. Now you're coming downwards. Give us your trajectory so far. What's your journey been like? Yeah.
Thank you so much, Caleb. So, of course, like we spoke on Monday morning when we set off, we did the Volta region. We did OT region. That day I had a conversation with Bernard using the Eastern Corridor for the first time. That was fun. That was crazy as well at a point.
Yeah.
And then we entered the Northern region, proceeded to the Yana's Palace. We had an interaction with the Yana, paid a courtesy call on him. And then we went straight to the Paga, to the Bolgatanga area, the capital of Upper East, and then went to Paga Crocodile Pond, where we had the luck and the pleasure of dealing with a crocodile. I mean, it's one thing that I think, Kayla, should be entered in the book of the 7 Wonders of the World.
Okay.
That a live, living wild crocodile would be called with a whistle by someone outside, and it will stride out of the water and come and lie prostrate and ask you to touch it and take photos with it and all of those things.
And I saw some ladies holding the tail of the crocodile.
I mean, so the advice is that you take the shots from the back or you go closer to it by the back because in front you never know. It's still an animal. You know, it's still an animal.
Very, very true.
Always an animal.
But I didn't see you with the animal. Did you go close to the animal or you were just chewing the suya?
You know, I have been well cooked. So animal cannot do me anything. I mean, I played with monitor lizards. I played with alligators. So what is a lizard to me? I mean, what is a crocodile?
Susu has a question for you, Sanda.
Sanda, that's
no. Susu, I don't trust Susu's question.
You don't.
Yeah, he's coming to ask animal rights questions.
No, it's not animal rights questions. As a general, you have to embed yourself in the experience. So if you didn't touch the crocodile, how can you accurately give us a report, Sanda?
No, I actually stroked. I didn't touch the crocodile. I stroked it to be more specific.
Okay,
and
that's fair enough.
I even put my microphone close to his mouth and questioned it.
Oh, you don't mean it, Sanda. You don't mean it.
What did you ask the crocodile?
And guess who my interviewer, my cameraman was? Kohe was the one who was using my camera as I interviewed the croc. But he just opened his mouth and he didn't answer. He just opened his mouth and was swallowing oxygen like nobody's business.
I see. But now you've come down to Sunyani, right?
Yes.
You must have been at Uzbek Hotel.
Yeah, so but before Sunyani, we went to the Mole National Park last night.
Yes, tell me about that.
We had a wonderful times with the monkeys especially. Now, those monkeys are rogue. Those monkeys in that Mole Park, they are rogue, they are exciting, they are fun. If you hold food and you're walking past and you're not careful,
they could snatch it.
They'll tell you, say, will you want to give it to me or I should collect it the hard way? I think generally you would have to just give it to them. Otherwise, they'll collect it the hard way. Yesterday, there was a school bus, students that came on a tour, and for a reason, the driver did not close the windows. Caleb, the next thing we saw, a horde of monkeys had jumped into that vehicle.
Oh, no.
Collected every belonging that was there to collect. I saw one monkey running into the bush with someone's shoe in the mouth. No, shoe, they only wear. They end up carrying shoe. But look, and then we saw the elephants, and then we saw the deers and the antelopes, and it was lovely. Now we are at Uzbek Hotel, and today we are heading out for the Ashanti Regional Capital, Kumasi. And the major highlight is we are going to the Armed Forces Museum. Wow. I love museums. Wow. Last year, when we went to Menshia Palace and went to the Menshia Museum, it was a beautiful thing to see. I am sure that there's going to be a lot more exciting stuff to see today.
Interesting. But tell me about the experience at Usbert Hotel. I remember last time I was on the caravan, there was a live band by the pool. They serve us some nice food. Like Usbert Hotel food is nice. And Sunyani, the weather is also jet, Charlie, tell me about it.
Caleb, you are right. So last year we had the caravan arrive at Usbert Hotel. And yes, there was live band music and it was by the pool, and there was a lot of food. Sure. But there's a difference. This time around, we have gone international because what people may not know, we have been traveling with our own. You know where you are going to play football and you bring your own football to the park.
I see that.
That's what we have done. So we brought our own live band. We are moving with the Inchim band, like they have their own band.
Jesus.
So wherever we reach, they just assemble the is it brass band they call it? No, not brass band, the thing. The bongbi, and the other thing. They just assemble and then we start dancing. So last night they set up beautifully in front of the swimming pool at Usbert. And Caleb, I mean, the Chinchin band is an underestimated group.
Sandra, let's tease Susu small. Susu, it's a vibe. You know, when it's a moonlit night and the moon is reflecting in the pool, it's all blue and there is food around, nice people, and the music. That vibe, you won't get it in Canada. You won't. It's only in.
I've been to Usbert Hotel.
No,
not with the caravan. I think get it in.
I'll go with the caravan.
You have to. You must do. So now we are going to Kumasi, are we not?
Yeah, so we're going to Kumasi, but let me also just say something. So today, being Independence Day, we are purposely and deliberately wearing our national colors.
Lovely.
So all the caravanites are going to be dressed in either red, gold, or green. So your shirt would either be red or it will be gold or green. That's for the caravanites. And then there's one color missing in there, the black star. That will be the staff of Channel 1 TV and Citi FM.
Oh, wow.
Including the FCC bus drivers who wear black, so that you have the red, you have the gold, you have the green, and then you have the black in the middle, coordinating all the affairs of the day. So if you see us anywhere today, those are the colors you are going to see us properly draped in to mark our Independence Day.
Right.
So that is one major highlight of today, Caleb.
Right. So approximately how many hours is your journey from Sunyani to the Ashanti Regional Capital, Kumasi?
What I can tell you is that we have done longer journeys, Caleb. Longer journeys. For instance, when we left Ho to Bolgatanga, now that one is a very crazy one because, I mean, I looked at it. I looked at the map and I was wondering, hey, when are we going to reach? And truly, we got there at midnight.
Wow.
We got there at midnight. But from here to Kumasi, just under 3 hours, 2.5 hours, 3 hours, we should be in Kumasi.
Okay.
It shouldn't be a problem at all. Last night, though, let me just make a point quickly before we go. And I said this to Salom on Eyewitness News yesterday. On our drive from Tamale to Sunyani, we went through the Bono East region before entering the Bono region itself.
Right.
And around Techiman, Tiomodom, in fact, when we got to Tiomodom last night, there was heavy rainfall. So, and there was a rainstorm with a windstorm that preceded it.
Wow.
And this brought down a number of huge trees. You know, this is a very
forested area.
Yeah. So a lot of the trees were uprooted when they were lying in the middle of the road. And so it caused a lot of difficulty driving on this road, maneuvering your way. Right. And it was really, really dangerous. And again, it exposed us in a number of ways. We have a single lane road. When a tree falls on it, that's it. There's no alternative. You know, we also have terrible roads where one of our vehicles blast their tires like 3 times between Tamale and Sunyani yesterday. Not the buses, though. One of the utility vehicles we're using, which is the advanced vehicle. So, Caleb, I mean, this trip has exposed me to a number of things, including the problems on our roads. And it is shameful and it is embarrassing.
Anyway, so we're expecting that you get to Kumasi later today. Have fun, enjoy yourselves. I heard you promise Zoe on air you are bringing her beats. And you told Bernard you are bringing him smoke. So what are you bringing me?
I will bring you, when we go to Maha, I'll go to the beach side and pick shells for you. I know you love flowers. I'll bring you seashells. Seashells. Say after me, seashells.
Sandra, goodbye.
You don't want seashells?
Goodbye.
You tie a rope to the seashell.
Thank you. So that was Umar Sada bringing us updates from Sunyane. They're on their way to Kumasi. They've been to Bogatanga. They started from Accra, rode through to Ho, all the way to Bogatanga, to Paga, came down to Tamale. Look, it's a really, really fun trip, and it's an educative one. People are learning about our country. What a time, what a place to be on Ghana's 68th independence. You're on the road, touring the country, feeling the nation, eating the nation, wearing the nation, speaking the nation. I like this vibe. It's truly a rewarding endeavor.
And I think the timing is great. As you
It
are
is.
seeing here, thinking about the country,
Precisely.
where it is, where we've come from.
Precisely.
I think it's great we do this every year, honestly.
And this is a perfect song to, this one.
Contractor.
Yeah, Wazoye. That's all we are trying to tell you on Channel 1, on Citi FM. Look, if you are not following us on Facebook, you are missing out. You are not on the caravan. You too, you are not following the pictures. You are not watching the videos and things. Just go on Facebook, find Citi 97.3. Go on Instagram, TikTok. Even on WhatsApp, we have a channel on YouTube, Channel 1 TV. Just catch up with all that we are sharing on the caravan. Entuma nkobia enchede entumu shrebi atase omote enyo yewazoye.
The only dry dogs you can get in Ghana, Tema. Ebe, Sanyo, Tema. Food complex, Commander Boham, Nanodom. What I said, maybe I will find a sauce. So, you know, if you vessel, we know when you are, or so when you are. The best swinging hotel, I beg and what, Tama. On the talk of the town hotel. Sankra, Nankwa, and Koshi. Dr. Papa Biswashet, my old friend, Dr. Kako. Ebe, Uncle Kwesahin. Another hard worker, Blaster Line. Miniano. One year Kotama. Tamafwe! Tamafwe! Yani yako. Yewatoye. Ebe. Yewatoye rasoko. Tamafwe.
Ashesi University, Yewazoye. Demti, if you are ready to drive innovation and take the next step in your career, apply for Ashesi University's master's programs, which combine world-class education with African relevance, regardless of your career aspirations. An Ashesi master's program equips you with the skills, ethics, and network to lead boldly. Applications are open for our 2025 cohorts. Learn more at ashesi.edu.gh. Leadership, scholarship, citizenship. Oh man. Now if you're looking for litigation free land, contact Royal Kingdom Estate. Yewazoye Omwate Piwadem. We specialize in land acquisition, construction, design, property management, and more. With properties in prime areas like Accra, Ebri, with land starting at 90,000 cities. We offer flexible payment plans, affordable homes ranging from 2 bedrooms and premium furnished apartments for short rentals in East Airport. We had cantonments opposite Soul Clinic International School. Call us 055 755 909 0272778880. Email info@Royal Kingdom Estate. Royal Kingdom Estate, building communities, nurturing dreams. Very shortly, Nimoy Thompson joins Bernardino Kokuavle for the big conversations. But if you're sending money to the Gambia, Guinea, Liberia, Nigeria, and Sierra Leone, it's never been this easy, convenient, and exciting. Through the Pan-African Payment and Settlement Systems PAPS, you can send and receive money from any of these countries. All you need to do is to visit any First Bank Ghana branch nationwide, where your cash and your money is transferred in no time. To receive money, all you need is a First Bank Ghana account. Find out more 0596 921 921. First Bank Ghana. Yawa Zoya Soko. So Dr. Nimoy Thompson joins us for big conversations as Ghana's marks 68 years of independence, and today's a holiday, so get closer to your radio set, increase your volume. You'll definitely learn a thing or two, if not more. We'll take a very quick break. When we are back, big conversations up.
The Citi Breakfast Show. Rise above the noise.
You're looking for a bank to rely on? Let me give you a shoulder to lie on. Would we say to bank be no lie? Only one place where I get my eye on. Make I introduce you all to First Bank, the best services in the world, first rank. Customer service, everything is well planned. I make music, I travel, I sell land. They be my reserve tank. Cause every time I know my money's safe. Universal banking ain't in me here on the date. I'm a busy person, me no need time to wait. Now I got to Spain, even when I'm in the States. My me blue shirt. They tell me office a chilly, but who cares? Cause I bank with the best. I'm lucky, I'm too blessed. When it comes to First Bank, it's too west. Everything is you first.
Nobody feed you, I'm like us. I'm like us. First Bank, we treat you first. Treat you first. Somebody crap, yeah. Think about you first. Think about you first.
You first. First Bank.
Join the conversation on the Citi Breakfast Show on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag CitiCBS.
97.3 Citi FM, Citi Breakfast Show, Thursday morning. It's a holiday and we are taking it easy, serving you authentic Ghanaian music. And we want to serve you the future of energy. It's right here. It's more affordable than ever. Translight Solar is your trusted brand in solar solutions. For the past 10 years, we're making it easier for you to own a reliable solar power system. With our flexible payment program starting at 49,000 Ghana cedis, you can now power your home or business by paying just 30% upfront and spreading the rest over a 12 to 24 month period. Yes, it's that simple. Buy solar now and pay as low as 1,650 every month. This year marks our 10th anniversary and we are celebrating with you. Be among the first to take advantage of our exclusive discounts and early bird deals. Say goodbye to doomsday high electricity bills, etc., etc. Don't wait a sit. Call us now. 050-424-9229, 020-654-2454. Visit translightsolar.com to schedule your free consultation. Translight, wherever there is sunlight, there is Translight. Now, if you're looking for a delicious snack for both kids and adults, try Bell Moo flavored milk. Bell Moo comes in chocolate and strawberry, sweet strawberry flavors. Perfect for any time of the day for your lunch boxes, after school snacks, or quick pick me ups. For bulk distribution, please call 0544 335 900, 0544 335 800. Bell Moo, it's maliciously delicious and another quality product from Bell Aqua. Next time you fly from Accra, why don't you fly better with Emirates? In Emirates economy, you can get a better taste of your destination on board with complimentary, regionally inspired meals. And as you savor each course of delicious gourmet cuisine at 40,000 feet, you can toast to new adventures with complimentary beverages. It's the perfect way to start your holiday. And of course, you can expect world-class service along every step of your journey. You get so much more in Emirates economy. Enjoy more convenience and flexibility to over 140 destinations within the Emirates Global Network. Find out more at Emirates.com.
yimi we kwa mi ehe no he wale ya ta no shi ofito be enela hunu e shami nyomo yimi dunwe wo mi ehe no he wale ya ta no shi ofito be.
The power of relevant radio. This is Citi 97.3.
Ausania Mobre, Chinago Mago. Bofe boni henyela bafe makunse mabashi ako manyi ganofena bayi na batoy Chinago Mago. Gidi bacha jwichi dogu ni me araja na go mago. Bofe boni henyela bafe makunse mabashi ako manyi ganofena na bayi Chinago Mago. Bofe bono bafe makunse mabayi Chinago Mago. Chiara bote no bae Chinago Mago.
Abele. 60 minutes past 8, City Breakfast Show on Ghana's 68th Independent Day celebration. Reflect, review, reset. That's the theme. My guest is Dr. Nimoy Thompson. The first time I met Dr. Nimoy Thompson, first time I heard of him, he had written an article in the Daily Graphic. And he was described as an Africanomist. You've come a long way.
I'll tell you.
Now you're there. No, I think this is almost 20-something years ago.
Yes.
This was probably the early 2000s. And then you were writing these thought-provoking articles about the economy.
Right.
What I liked was that it was easy to understand.
Yes. Yeah.
Because, economics can be very esoteric in the way, as an investor at the time.
Yes.
And I think you continued that way.
Yeah.
And
I did that because I had a journalism background. I was a journalist before.
It's always the best.
I tell you.
It's
and then I
always
realized
the
that the two are actually quite related because they both require discipline.
Yeah.
They require investigation. They require accuracy. They require your ability to communicate the message. Don't write just for the fun of writing.
Yeah.
So they're like first cousins.
Because
actually.
I always get frustrated when I read economists who sound so like
you write to impress yourself and
Yeah.
your colleagues. No,
you've kept that.
Yeah.
So are you still an Africanomist?
Yes, very much so. Very much. An Africanomist, a Garveyist, an Nkrumahist, Pan-Africanist, all the ists fall within that category.
So you're a Garveyist, you're an Nkrumahist.
Yes.
I see.
But Garveyist is like the umbrella term for all of it.
Because Marcus Garvey, you can say, was the lead thinker.
Big time.
In that.
He inspired him. He even inspired Nkrumah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you read Nkrumah's biography, he said of all the books that he read, none did so much to fire his imagination than the philosophy and opinions of Marcus Garvey.
Because I think he explained the black man's economic situation in a way that was so clear.
Yes.
A lot of the others, social justice and things, but Garvey essentially said it's also economic issues.
You can call it applied activism as opposed to the intellectual activism of the time, which was mostly Pan-Africanist.
Yes.
And you can understand that. Pan-Africanism started more as an intellectual thing. And Garvey came in and said, no, we have to take it a step further. Let's go to Africa and actually build something, in his words, to stun the world, to prove that what others have done, we can do. And in fact, that's my favorite phrase of Marcus Garvey, what others have done, we can. So if you receive an email from me, you see at the bottom, I have it there, what others have done, we can do. You walk into my house, the first thing you see up on the wall, what others have done, we can do.
Do you think our leaders should be going back to Garvey now? And
definitely.
Because we are in interesting times. US is becoming basically US, America first. Europe doesn't know what to do. So it looks like the world is in a very difficult situation. And the African Union does not seem to matter within the global sphere of things that much. is this the best time to say, let's go back to what Garvey said, let's build from within, just talk to me a bit about that.
No, I've always felt that way. Even when I was a student in America in the 80s and 90s, when I was really practicing my Garveyism, including reading a history book a month. That's a requirement for Garvey. I actually came down and donated some books to the University of Ghana. It's a School of African Studies or Center for African Studies. It was 9-volume work of Marcus Garvey, with the expectation that it would be taught to liberate us. I think at the basic education level, we need to introduce that because it's so inspiring. And what Nkrumah said that Marcus Garvey's book inspired him more than any other book did was not an exaggeration. I read it. I have a copy of it. The Philosophy and Opinions of Marcus Garvey. And it is impossible for you to read that book and remain the same without being inspired. I mean, you have to go out there. I mean, I could stay out there for as long as I want and other, but I'm here largely because of the inspiration of Marcus Garvey, that what others have done.
Do you think we treasure economic history that well? I say this because even in the discussions around the economy, a lot of times it's more about, we are an IMF program, let's do this, let's do that, let's stabilize. But I feel like there's a lot of history that needs to guide decisions in the economy that we really don't think about.
Couldn't be more right. And I've been having that discussion with the staff since I returned, that we cannot play down the relevance of history. And the development is history. In the 40-year National Development Plan, there's a whole section that we devoted to Ghana's history. I remember initially we went the typical route when the Portuguese came. We said no. Before the Portuguese, we were here. What were the states? Where were their relationships and so forth and so on? So if you read the 40-year National Development Plan, there's a whole section that goes all the way back and then traces it back to colonial period, even education. These days there have been all sorts of issues about public education. But if you go through the 40-year National Development Plan, there's a section that looks at the evolution of modern education in Gold Coast, Ghana, missionaries, the government, and the evolution of Islamic education, and how all those things came together to form the basis of the education framework we have. That knowledge is critical. It's a critical reference point for making contemporary decisions. So when we started, we didn't want to go GDP and this and that. No. There's for every GDP figure you see, there's a history behind that. How did we get here? And I was telling them about some of the experiences. In fact, I used the term Wagbejeke. Wagbejeke from Nadbru sound. It's an interesting word because it means two things at the same time. Wagbejeke means
we've come from
far.
Where we are going is far. I like you are right. It's very powerful.
It's a powerful word. We've come from far.
We still have a long way to go.
Have a long way to go. So that's it. You need to situate your economic development strategies within a historical context. Without that, you are simply flawed, and you are likely to even repeat the errors of the past, and also deprive yourself of the inspiration and lessons of the past.
Maybe my summary for this segment would be, as a journalist, we need to also find more economic historians and put them in the discourse, because what we tend to do with our news is immediacy. Where's the currency? What's the plan? Budget is coming. So a lot of times we are discussing the now. But it will be interesting to tell people, so what does this mean in the context of our past 70 years or 68 years? Because even, for example, this week, what Trump is doing with Ukraine and all that's going on, you can look at 1945 and what that means for the current global order. Because we know that it was 45 that the Bretton Woods institution essentially started, International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, and all these things. So this is 80 years since that happened, and now US is basically going on its own. I think many times, because we don't appreciate history, we over-exaggerate our problems or over-exaggerate our successes without knowing that
the context.
There's always this. So it's an interesting one. So maybe you should find me a couple of economic historians to be interviewing.
No problem.
Because I don't even know if there's economic history as a PhD in Ghana. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if there is.
I know of a few textbooks, but I was saying you the section of the 40-year National Development Plan that reviews our economic and political history as the basis for moving us forward. It's fascinating. It's very detailed, and it gives us a lot of inspiration also. For example, a lot of young people today would be shocked to know that only 40 years ago you couldn't just go out there and buy bread. You needed to register, and I showed them, yes, I wish I had
So this
it here
is
during the break.
1983,
82.
You needed a cheat.
Yeah, there's a booklet, a yellow booklet. I actually took my father's booklet to the office to show it to them. You needed I would look for it during the break and read it to you. It's
to buy bread.
To buy bread, not just bread, to buy matches, to buy soap, basic things like that. You needed to register. And the book, it's called the People's Shop Booklet. And then, yes, so I get angry when people try to play down the role of history in development planning. And so you see, I'll get it let's wait for the break. I'll get it.
Wow.
And then you see that he bought bread, and then after 3 days later, he's given another loaf of bread, and then he's given milk, and then 1/4 soap. That means it was key soap, and they had to cut them. That's how far we've come. Wogbejeke indeed. That's how far we've come.
Next point I wanted to make, and this is not a criticism of the National Economic Dialogue, but as I sat through the sessions and listened to the recommendations, I feel like there were 6 thematic areas. I can say only one focused on the behavioral soft aspect of development. So macroeconomy is very hard. Private sector is very hard. Structural reform is very hard. Infrastructure is very hard. Growth with depth, very hard. Then there was good governance, anti-corruption, which for me is like the soft issue.
Exactly, that will handle this.
Do you think that our economics has missed the trick where we spend a lot of time talking about the visible things, but the real problems are the invisible things, the way people think, the way they behave.
The soft issues, yeah.
You know, and I feel like we don't have a lot of airtime for that. We don't even discuss those.
Yes.
But they're actually probably the real barriers. So, for example, if a company tells you and the ease of doing business in Ghana, ease of doing business is not just a regulatory issue. It's also the way the people work.
Yes.
You get it? So you can say government can change the law and say register your business in 2 days. You can do digitalization. But if the people are lazy, they are lazy. You get it?
Yeah.
But I don't think we spend a lot of time talking about behavior.
Yes.
And we feel like, and I think that's more a bigger impediment to development than we think.
It was mentioned, or at least treated, and certainly I emphasize that on behalf of the Commission, but it will take a separate effort to unpack that. Okay. Remember at the meeting or the dialogue, I said that we, from the Commission's point of view, we are going to humanize development by rethinking economic growth. Because currently, we think of economic growth only on one dimension, GDP, which you could easily attain by, let's say, replacing every worker in Ghana with a robot. And GDP may grow by 20%.
Or digging 10 new oil wells.
Exactly. And it wouldn't really translate into. So our new definition, we're going to support that with the whole research program, is that GDP must grow, but so must jobs and wages. So growth in output, growth in jobs, growth in wages. These 3 must happen for us to be able to determine output, jobs and wages. Now, the only way this can happen is through productivity growth. And productivity runs through all 3. It's only through productivity that you can increase output in a sustainable and cost-effective manner. It's only through productivity that you can also create employment, because once you use the same resources to produce more, your unit cost goes down, you are able to sell more, and therefore there's a demand for labor. So you can create more jobs, especially when you look at the outside or the external part. And then wages. We need a way to make sure that wages keep pace with productivity. There's currently a disparity, and there's a reason for that, because productivity itself is relatively low. But in the process of improving productivity, that's where the work ethic comes in, the ethos come in. And that is also a function of industrial organization, how you organize the systems. If the systems are so lax that people will show up and not do anything, they would show up and not do anything. For instance, my office, when I showed up, there was a television set on the wall. I said, no, we are not paid to come here and watch television, so get rid of it. And you're going to get rid of it in all the offices.
Watch the news.
You're not there to watch the news. Sometimes it's, in case something happens. I say nothing will happen. If something happens, we'll all get outside and we'll be okay. So it's actually.
So you shut it down.
Oh no, I've told them. I see that it's still hanging there. So someone's going to pay a price for that. But in fact, for me, the presence of television sets in government offices is the ultimate symbol of a country that's simply not serious. I've been to places where I walked through reception straight to the minister's office and no one asked me a question because everyone was watching television.
They're watching a soap opera.
Say that again.
They're watching a soap opera.
No, you are not joking.
At 11 a.m.
Quite literally.
Yes.
And it wasn't just soap opera, but soft porn with these telenovelas and all that. People were half naked. 10 a.m. in government offices, and you could walk through a reception and nobody asked. And then they wonder why their salaries are low. Because productivity is low. I applied, I was outside. I came here June last year to apply for renewal of my driver's license because I was using it there. I thought, given all the hype about digitization and so forth and so on, I come to Ghana, I pay the premium, and I pay the premium for renewal. I'll get it in like a week. They said, oh, no, Mr. Thompson, it's like that.
You went to the premium center?
Yes.
And you didn't get it immediately?
No. They said it was going to take a couple of months.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Is it because it's international?
No, it was my Ghanaian driver's license, not an international.
No international driver's license.
No. I was in South Africa with
Really?
so I could actually be allowed to use my Ghanaian driver's license. They said it would take a couple of months. So I left all the information behind. 6 months later, when I came back to Ghana in December to vote, the driver's license was still not ready. And they could tell you with such pride, the June cards are not ready.
Just like that?
Yeah, with some satisfaction.
The June cards are not ready.
The June cards are not ready. So I'm standing there, I was like, what the hell is going on? 6 months? Meanwhile, they do that in 7 days in other places, 6 months. So I used some Takashibi, and then I went to see the director, and I think in a day or two, I got my card. So 6 months. Only last week, I finally received a text message that my driver's license is ready. So 8 months to do something that other people do in 7 days.
What is the cause of such a thing? Is it the lack of proper organization of the workspace?
Yes.
Is it the public sector culture?
Systems.
Is it
reforms.
the way that people are raised at home? Is it the school they go to? What leads to all of that?
It's all of that. There's a cultural element, but there's also an organizational element. Again, as I said, it all depends on how you set it up. If you set it up and you enforce it, it will work. And that's what, in a sense, I've started doing in my office. Besides getting rid of television, I told them, listen, when I'm not in the office, turn off the lights. We save money that way.
But would that be enough for you at NDPC? Do you not think that... I'm pushing this because...
Please do.
We've done a big economic summit, which is great. We've discussed what we need to do to fix our problems. Do you not think that somebody like the president should champion some behavioral change around work culture? Or some champion like the Minister for Labor?
Yes.
Because what you're saying, if you ask most employees, they'll tell you that that's our biggest problem. People are on Facebook doing work.
Yes.
They are not... Like somebody comes to the reception and the person like a nuisance.
Yes. Exactly.
They are not really interested. Some are eating fufu.
You are not exaggerating.
So how do you... Like, this is something that I feel like should be number one.
It's part of our tenure. I told you at the program that because we are rethinking growth as a three-dimensional phenomenon instead of the one-dimensional phenomenon, we are also supporting that with the 10-point research agenda. It's going to spread over 10 years. The commission is not fully established yet. So once it's done, and productivity research is going to be one of those which will use the findings to drive the kind of public sector reforms that will bring these changes. Work ethic. For instance, nobody who is involved in frontline service delivery in government should be allowed to be on the phone at the front desk. You can be on the phone in the back or whatever, but the front desk, it just shouldn't.
Or social media. It should even be blocked.
In fact, you should turn it off.
Yeah.
And you go to the American embassy, you see them on the... No, as soon as they check in, there's a place there where you put your phone. There's a number that you can be reached at in case of emergency, maybe your kids want. But during work hours, there's zero tolerance for doing anything other than that for which you are paid. Now, fortunately, in our current context, the president has also appointed a minister for public sector reforms. We are going to work. I just got her number yesterday, and I'm going to reach out to her.
Yeah.
But it will require some sort of diagnostics for us to see how can we spend so much money. By my own reckoning, over the past 40 years, we might have received something close to $1 billion in donor assistance in all forms, some of them 200 million, some 300 million for public sector reforms. And yet the impact appears to have been zero. Yesterday during the program, I told you about my experience in trying to clear a speaker at customs. And I was nodding when you said when people are eating and so forth. I experienced all that. You go into an office, there are 10 people in there. only 2 are actually working. A couple of them are just pacing up and down, distracting the 2 who are working. The others are having a feast. They're not just eating, they're having a feast there. So in the end, a simple speaker
can be eating a banquet in the office.
In the office, it's a feast. It's a whole feast in the presence of visitors. They couldn't care less because they are allowed to do that. The system permits that. So a speaker that in other places take, and I gave the example, in essay, it would have taken me no more than 15 minutes.
To clear that same thing.
With 0 paperwork, 0, everything was digitized. In Ghana, it took me nearly 2 weeks with 28 pages of useless paperwork. 28 pages. And the 28 pages included...
Sorry, how far back is this? Last year?
This is just a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, no.
No, this year.
Wow.
This
to clear something.
Wow. Let's see, I arrived in Ghana, it was in 24th January. And I couldn't bring the speaker with me because of the magnet in there. They said it would interfere with the communication. So it was a Saturday, and then the speaker arrived on Tuesday. That's when I received the call, and the lady, I think she was ordering food in the background.
Whilst giving you official information.
Giving me official information. In the background. We are sitting, we are simply not serious. So when I hear people go on and on and on about the private sector being the private sector without an efficient and progressive public sector can simply not function. Now, I mentioned the American Embassy. If you were there before they went online with their forms, you would have noticed at the bottom, they always had that footnote that everything they were doing is in compliance with the Paper Reduction Act of 1982. Yes. There was a federal law that reduced the amount of paperwork involved in dealing with the federal government, including American embassies abroad.
In 1982.
And then when Bill Clinton came into office in the 1990s, he appointed his vice president, Al Gore, to even reinforce that. I was a student then, and I remember Al Gore coming on television with a forklift.
Wow.
Filled with papers that had been removed in dealing with its federal government. Meanwhile, we are sometimes I think it's like noon out there while others are doing something. And for us, it's like 2 a.m. We are just wrapping ourselves in our blanket. It's as if we don't know what is going on in the rest of the world.
To end this segment, what I want to ask you is, give me 2 or 3 sources of change for this type of thing, which is really the behavioral thing. Yes. Are you looking more in the home? Is it the school? Is it the church? Is it the government? Is it the media?
Yes.
Who should take it upon themselves to say, we need to do better. We need to be more serious. We need to be more clinical. We need to be more results oriented. Yes. Because the lackadaisical nature, this thing you're describing in the public sector, it's even in the private sector too, if there's no supervision.
Exactly.
So you go to some shops and then you enter, nobody minds you. Unless the owner of the shop is there, sometimes they are so rude. Yes. So it's not necessarily even a public sector thing. It's more like a Ghanaian thing.
It's a cultural thing. It's a cultural, and believe it or not, we travel with it also. Wow. In the 1980s, when I lived in New York City, there weren't too many Ghanaian shops there. I lived in Brooklyn, but there were Ghanaian shops in the Bronx. When you went to the Ghanaian shops, guess what they were doing? They were busy watching Osofo-Dadzie.
Even in the
in New York City, in Brooklyn, they wouldn't pay attention to it. They were busy watching Osofo-Dadzie.
Really?
And I once went to a Chinese shop.
So they've taken this thing
They've taken it with them. But I once went to a Chinese shop because I went there because they had African and Caribbean foods or something. And I wanted Gary, and he said he had no Gary. But he was determined
to get you the Gary.
Yes. So I wrote it down for him on a piece of paper. He said, okay, got it. Okay, come next week. He went to the Bronx.
Chinese?
Yes. He went to the Bronx, got the Gary.
And brought it?
And he brought it to Brooklyn. Customer service. We have zero sense of customer service in this. And someone just pulled out, it's very interesting, it's on Twitter. I wrote an article about 10, 14 years ago. Someone just pulled it up. And I was complaining that in every shop you go to in Ghana, you ask for something, it is finished. You ask it is finished. So I said, where were you when the thing was finishing? When you had 10 pieces, it came down to 8, to 4, to 1. Where were you? And then they just stare at you. So it's something, they all fall on the productivity improvements, because productivity is also a way of life if you structure it well. So I'm very happy, because the commission is not an implementing agency. The best we can do is to support government with research and research findings, in addition to planning and monitoring. So, as I said, that's actually going to be my passion. We are going to, it's a 10-point research program. We will use that to enforce. But first, we need to understand what happened to all the public sector interventions. One of them was called NIRP, National Institutional Renewal Program. I remember it was a big thing funded by the World Bank. And we end up with 28 pages just to clear a little speaker. So you can imagine the hell the businesses are going through. There are businesses in South Africa, Ghanaian businesses, that choose to import plantain from Latin America instead of Ghana, because it's cheaper and less of a hassle. Plantain. I just assumed that it would come from Ghana. I just said, no, too much trouble with Ghana. So they import from Latin America, plantain. So yes, we have a big, and as I said, fortunately, we now have a minister. And the commission is going to work very closely with the minister. We first need to do the diagnostics. Why have previous interventions failed? We have a rough idea of it, because you hear people complain all the time. As for plans, we have plenty plans. It's the implementation that is the problem. Well, it's a problem partly because if you go through the plans, there's virtually no risk analysis, because you need 3 hours: risks, responses, and responsibilities. There's zero analysis for that. And I remember there was a time when the Ghana Urban Strategy was reviewed at a forum, and there was under the responsibility column, they have various MDAs. And every time they call them, they said, well, we didn't even know that we have this responsibility. So it can be solved. We are not the only ones to ever face this problem. We can easily go back and dig through it. So hopefully once we launch the program and we begin to work with the ministries, of course, Honorable Rashid Purple was also there. I spoke with him.
He actually agreed with a suggestion by the private sector. No, private sector group said, instead of just focusing on fair wages all the time, we should think of productive labor. And the minister sort of on paper agreed.
Labor productivity.
Yes.
Labor productivity.
We'll take a short break. My guest is Dr. Nimoy Thompson. Is the board chair or chairman of the National Development Planning Commission. He used to be the Director General of the NDPC. He also advised President Mahama as his economic advisor in the previous administration. He was a member of the 8-member National Economic Dialogue Committee, and he also was part of the panel that decided to basically take the recommendations of the 6 thematic areas and work with. He has the monitoring role for government policy. We'll come back and delve with a few things. We are mixing history with reality of the current, now, and the future, talking about independence and what it means, which of the ideas of our forebears are still relevant today, and what the imperative should be for our reflection on a very important day like this. We're happy to take your comments as well. 054-998-6996. Stay with us.
This is the Citi Breakfast Show, the city's biggest conversation.
Electroland Ramadan promotion is here. Get unbeatable deals on top brands Samsung, TCL, Media, and NASCO. Get NASCO 166-liter top mount freezer at 3,999 Ghana cedis plus a free flask. NASCO tabletop freezer starting from 1,999 Ghana cedis plus a free flask. NASCO chest freezer at 3,899 Ghana cedis plus free NASCO deep fryer. Get our Media 198-liter chest freezer at a whooping discount from 5,249 Ghana cedis to 3,999 Ghana cedis. For 4,499 Ghana cedis, you can get a TCL bottom mount fridge plus free NASCO meat grinder. Get our Samsung top load washing machine at 6,499 Ghana cedis plus free NASCO deep fryer. Rush to our showrooms and authorized dealers across Ghana. Call 0503-159-739 for inquiries. Electroland, home of affordable luxury appliances and electronics.
Dear home, no interest for 2 years. Are you ready to step into your dream home? With Lakeside Estates' exclusive offer, you you can own your own home in just 2 years with no interest payment. This offers you affordable payments, flexible home purchase plan, quality homes, and lifestyle change. Choose from a variety of beautiful homes in any of Lakeside Hills clusters. Your future awaits you. Imagine living in a home you love with the freedom to invest in your dreams without the burden of interest. As your CIMG Real Estate Company of the Year for the 4th time, we offer you hassle-free home acquisition. Call us today on 020-477-5043 or 020-477-5042. Don't miss out on this incredible opportunity. Call us now to learn more and schedule a tour for our available homes. TNC supplied. Make your dream a reality. Lakeside Estate. Quality homes for all.
Join the conversation on the City Breakfast Show on Facebook at facebook.com/City97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/City973, and Instagram at instagram.com/City973 with the hashtag CityCBS.
The City Breakfast Show. Rise above the noise.
Quarter to 9, City Breakfast Show. Later on, my guest will be Chief Mumin, my very good friend, who's another, I call him an activist, artist.
But he's also a thinker.
Absolutely.
Yeah, those people,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So he'll join me. We'll talk about the 68-year journey of Ghana. He has some very interesting ideas about the orange economy. He wrote an article where he said, in addition to everything that was discussed at the forum, there's the orange economy part, music, the arts, theater, tourism, that he believes can unlock not just jobs, foreign exchange, but also goodwill. Very interesting article he wrote.
BTS in South Korea, they bring in a couple of billion.
Yeah, so he would talk to me about that after your interview. But I know you know what he's saying.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I still think Ghana has a lot of brand in, even, I mean, the point you made about the plantain from Caribbean notwithstanding, most people of African descent, they regard Ghana highly. From a very soft perspective, they like the country.
Yes.
They like our history.
Yes.
They like our first president.
Yes.
And they like what we represent.
Yes.
So that if we create the right environment,
it'll be unbelievable.
I mean, I read an article last week which was so sad that a lot of the African Americans who had bought lands here were having to now grapple with land litigation. And I was like, why do we do this? Because these guys, there's a lot of black money that wants to come into Ghana. And that's an important part of the job because, again, historically, the Chinese, the Indians, they've used their diasporas to develop their economies. Okay, there's a strong congressional black lobby for Africa. AGOA came out of that. So I feel like Ghana can take the lead in attracting that type of money if we will do a few things right. I just want a quick comment on that before I...
No, you're absolutely right. There's a great deal of goodwill. Despite all our challenges, including those that I've listed, there's a great deal of goodwill out there for Ghana.
Yeah.
Again, when you go out there and you say Ghana, depending on the age of the person, the first, Kwame Nkrumah. Kwame, that almost always come up. When I was a little kid, 17, when I showed up in Freetown looking for a place to sleep, I approached a tailor. The first thing, when I told him I was from Ghana, Kwame Nkrumah, he gave us a loan. He was from Guinea. He was he was a Guinean tailor. His name was Bailoba. I still remember him very well. So that goodwill is there. When Liberia's civil war ended, we sent engineers from VRA to go and help them restore power. When Ebola broke out,
I think there were more Liberians in Ghana than any other country in terms of countries that received refugees.
Oh, okay.
I think we received more Liberian refugees than any other country.
Than any other, Yes,
we did.
And we have a history, Ghanaian history in Liberia that dates back centuries. You have, in Liberia, some of the prominent families are the Addis, A-D-D-Y. They are from Ghana.
Okay.
Akoleache family is very prominent there.
Okay.
The Dapos from Pram. They are also there. They're all Liberians now. But roots in Ghana. The Banamans, the Case.
Okay.
They are all Liberians with Ghanaian roots. So it was fairly easy for some of them to trace. I'm actually related to a couple of them. And they came down here. So there's that. So the goodwill is there. If we can only put our house in order, it will even be bigger than what it is now. Because from my experience in South Africa, I concluded, for instance, that there's probably more Black Americans going there for tourism than they are coming here. Yes. Partly because the tourism sector is highly developed and there's a lot more to offer, and it goes beyond slavery tourism. Because slavery is okay to remember and all that, but people also want to have fun afterwards.
But you can even add that.
Yes, but the services are not there. After you visited the place, the restaurants.
But this is what we're trying to do, the heritage caravan. So we are mixing.
Yes, you are doing fantastic.
Mixing the
exactly
the cultural, historical
with having fun.
Yes, that's what we're trying to do.
It's very critical.
So maybe we can discuss that later. How as an low-hanging fruit, you can basically develop the tourism infrastructure, because when people bring in foreign exchange, it stays here, and tourism employs people.
A lot of people. So, unfortunately, it's one of the lowest. I don't know. I'm not sure you were there when the productivity report was launched last week, but the tourism sector was at the bottom, which shocked me.
Of productivity
and job creation.
Why? Where is that report? I need to see it.
You can get it. I have a copy. I can send you the soft copy, but it's launched by the Ghana Statistical Service.
Productivity report?
Yes.
How did I miss this?
Yes. It's the first of its kind, so don't feel too bad. But at the upper end, the most productive industry in Ghana is the mining sector.
Are you kidding me?
Yes. Even though it shows in other statistics, it counts for around 11-12% of GDP, but it contributes about 30% for GDP growth.
Oh my God, I actually have it.
But the downside...
Productivity, employment and growth.
Exactly.
Oh my God, I didn't read it.
And then the second, if you go through it, the second most productive is what they call corporate agriculture. And then everything else is... And that's a reason
So the most productive sector is the mining sector.
With negative employment growth, followed by the corporate agriculture sector with positive employment growth. Now, the question...
Can you explain that?
Yes. In other words, over the period that they looked at, as the mining sector became productive, it shed jobs, which is not surprising because part of mining sector productivity is the result of mechanization.
I get it.
And mechanization is said to have social benefits. Even though you lose jobs, it also reduces accidents and fatalities.
Correct.
So it's a
balancing act.
Exactly. But at the base of it is one, access to global capital, two, access to global best practices. They use industrial engineers while most places, in fact, when I talk to my engineer friends, I was surprised to find out that they said we don't have industrial engineers in Ghana. Maybe they have them in one or two places, but the universities don't even offer degrees in industrial engineering. So, but these firms have them. They have access to them at the international level. And when you go to South Africa, for instance, industrial engineers are all over the place. And that in part explains South Africa's, the depth of its industrial economy, despite all the challenges, because they come into an industrial sector and they optimize the processes. So one of them that I dealt with, and I keep telling that story because it was so powerful, they come into a place and they look at the time between tasks and say, how do we reduce that time?
Doc, let me push you. Is there not a trade-off between high productivity and high employment? And give me 2 seconds to explain this. So you already give an example of the mining sector. But even in agriculture, I've noticed that globally, countries that are more productive per hectare or per acre tend to have fewer human beings in the sector. So that the more mechanized agri becomes, the more productive it is. Now, you've also said you want us to look at the 3D development. Output, employment, and income. Now, we may run into challenges because if you want to be more productive, you may be less human-centered in your employment. So even though society benefits in savings and we can produce more and make it cheaper, people may not have work to do.
That is one biased view, if for lack of a better term. And it depends, because even the language of productivity must be coined properly. One way of, and that's not, what I'm going to say is not my favorite approach. They're doing more with less means, and the labor unions in particular are very sensitive about that, especially in places like South Africa where the labor unions are very active. Because for them, doing more with less means laying off workers. So they oppose it. It took a while for them to get around to the idea that we can do more with the same. number of people.
Okay.
And if you do well, in other words, you give them the necessary skills for them to produce more for the same amount of effort. And the more you produce over time, the lower your unit cost, and therefore the more competitive the firm becomes. That means all things being equal, you can even pay them more and also get a bigger market. Now, the example I was telling you about earlier where the industrial engineer came in to optimize the processes, it was 110 seconds between tasks. And he reduced that, he reorganized it. It's amazing when you see them at work, including...
So it's still people working?
People working, but just more improving. And believe it or not, reduced it from 110 seconds to 24 seconds. And it saved the company over $200,000 a year. Now that reduces your cost of doing business. Obviously, once that goes down, profitability goes up, the capacity to pay more goes up, government, of course, revenue goes on. And so there's a feedback loop. Now, in terms of jobs, again, it depends on how you structure your economy. The U.S. is perhaps the most productive economy today, but unemployment rate is always low. It's been low compared to the others, precisely because it's highly efficient. There are only 335 people in the U.S., 335 million people in the U.S., versus 350 million people in the 20 Euro countries. And yet the US's GDP is almost double.
So your point is the way we arrange work is more important than simply getting rid of people. So when we say we want to be more productive, we are not saying sack people.
Yes.
We are saying let's reorganize work so people can do more.
Precisely.
Okay.
Because they are sitting there watching television. All right.
Let's push this further.
But let me share the thing with you.
No, I'll come back to it.
Oh, okay,
Let's push this further since you're on a roll.
Okay, no problem.
You made a point at the end, the program that I want you to elaborate on. So, generally, it's been wrongly said that the SMEs represent 70% of the GDP. The right figure is about 34%.
30%. Right.
But they represent about more than 70% of employment.
Yes.
Good. So you can say that SME sector is low, has low productivity. Generally.
Yes, generally. Not just in Ghana, in fact it's global.
Globally, yes.
Yeah, globally, yeah.
So my question to you is, how do we make SMEs more productive? Because it seems to me as if every time we talk about SMEs and formalization, we are thinking about getting taxes from them. But I think the conversation will be more around how do we make SMEs more productive?
Bernard, you just answered the question, so maybe I should get out of the chair and go home. No, but you did it so well. You did it so well because every time we talk about the informal sector, the first thing is taxes. Yeah, there's a segment there that should be paying taxes that are not paying taxes, but the vast majority, overwhelming majority of them are below the threshold for even paying taxes, precisely because skills are low, capital per worker, as we call it, is low. Production processes are so all those things combined means that the value added per worker there is very low, and that's what actually brings down the overall average productivity for Ghana, which is around $5 or $6 per hour worked. Now there's a global ranking for that, and I'm citing that figure for Ghana because it's related. They use the US as a benchmark, and for the US it's $70 an hour versus Ghana where it is around $5 or $6 an hour. And the minimum wage in the U.S., the federal minimum wage is around $7. Some states pay $10, $15, even $25 and so forth and so on. But you are looking at a situation in Ghana where the minimum wage is not even on a daily basis, not even an hourly basis. So we have just around $1. They just increased it recently. If you break it down, it comes down to around 15 cents per hour. While your counterpart in the U.S. is doing $7 an hour, $10 an hour, $15 an hour. And part of the reason it is so low for Ghana is because of the dominance of the informal sector. So formalization should actually be an explicit objective of policy for any transformation agenda. But unfortunately, as you rightly said, we often think of it only in tax terms. If you work with them to improve productivity and incomes go up, right away the tax base also expands. And then if you look at the skills profile, that's the scary part. When the last time I was reading GLAD 7, Ghana Living Standard Survey, the 7th edition, where 20% of our labor force have no employment, education, 20%. And another 54% have up to JHS education. So we're looking at 3/4 of a labor force that for all intents and purposes is not suitable for a modern economy. And I mentioned this to Professor Jimabwedi the other day, and he gave some examples that this is true. He said, for instance, he noticed that some Uber drivers cannot even read maps. Yes. And this is not to put them down, because in a sense they're actually victims of a failed system. Yeah. But we are living in a digital age in which you cannot read maps. I was told, and
imagine what he could have done if he could have read maps.
Precisely.
He would have probably had double the number of customers.
Exactly.
But because he can't read maps, he'll be making phone calls, he will lose customers and blame the network.
Exactly.
It
happens. The knock-on effects are all of it. So eventually, what my conclusion, based on my experience, I was in South Africa for 3 years working on this productivity thing. Yeah. That productivity is the key to everything. Because once you do that, and it's funny because I also worked on the strategy document for the 24-hour economy, even while I was there, with President Mohammed. Even though he was campaigning, he was providing feedback and all that. But something he said, just 4 words he said, that go to the heart of the development and productivity challenge. He said, Ghana must work efficiently. And that is the conversational definition of productivity. Ghana must work efficiently, whether it's ECG, whether it's our roads. Our roads are some of the worst in terms of services that we get. And sometimes I wonder, what the hell is going on? Where are the police? You see a police officer directing traffic, and then suddenly he sees somebody whose insurance or roadworthy thing has expired, and then he stops directing traffic and then jumps to. So we need to be focused. In the morning, the police officer's sole objective is free traffic flow. Every second that you spend in traffic that you shouldn't spend is a cost. And if we were to do the right research, you see that alone is costing us billions and billions of dollars.
Let me ask you, how do you work with the labor unions and the professional bodies and the informal sector groups to improve the skills of the average worker?
Yes.
Because you've convinced me here that if you give somebody better skills, you'll be more productive. And if it's more productive, you'll make more money. Mm-hmm. And you've also said that a lot of the time we looked at this productivity thing from, let's cut jobs. Let's cut jobs. That's not what we want to do. Mm-hmm. So you have labor unions. Mm-hmm. So you have Association of Plumbers, Association of Mechanics, and all of these people. How do you, because if you, so are we going to do on-the-job training? Are we going to do a special intervention? Mm-hmm. Because if we give them, and some of it is behavioral training as well, if we did that in a concerted fashion, they will be more productive. And the economy will do better.
Yes.
So how do we go about this?
The thing is that you and I tend to think on the same wavelength often, because you mentioned some of these things. Yeah. Institutionally, when the productivity report was launched, the representative for MDPI, Management Development Productivity Institute, was there. We were already contemplating reaching out to them, MDPI and GEA, Ghana Enterprise Development Agency, for skills development and other types of, so for entrepreneurs, for example. And it's funny because only last week there was a team, forget where, trying to remember them. They came to see me. They were into skills development. It's an international organization. They were into skills development, and I welcome them. I said, fine, it actually fits within our proposed research agenda. But I want to remind you guys to also emphasize soft skills, not just hard skills. How to drive or nail it, that's the hard skill. But is the person trustworthy? Are they reliable?
Customer
Do they pay attention to detail? Do they pay attention to excellence? I've had so many problems in the construction sector where as a painter, I asked to paint a wall, and he actually painted over the keyhole.
Bro, I have somebody who was doing a net door for me. When he finished, I had to put tissue because mosquitoes were entering the room through the kitchen because he did the net door, and the net door there was a.
It's all about standards. It's all about standards, but we have to work with them. And the experience of the previous experiences, I worked on projects where we used something called SBA, Small Business Associations, and through them we transmitted best practices to their members. I've always had, I don't know why, but I've always had a soft spot for the Ghana Garages Association. I've seen what's been done in other countries, and I think we can work with them for them to improve their productivity. Because if you improve productivity, you can actually charge a lot more than you are now.
Yes.
And the customer will willingly pay. Rather than you
cutting corners,
exactly.
It's like Tobo is all they think about. You know.
So hard skills, yes, but we also need to focus on soft skills, even and not just for informal sector. Those I was thinking the other day. For instance, a degree in accounting, shouldn't we add soft skills to it? Excellence, attention to detail, honesty. besides how to balance books and all that.
You know, the assumption is that when you go through a good professional course, the assumption is that you assimilate that in the way the lectures are delivered, the assignments and the homework. But as you said,
it has to be explicit.
It has because because people can cut corners.
Yes.
So somebody can get A.
Yes.
And still not assimilate the skill because either he's just naturally brilliant or he can get someone to do the work for him. So we have to deliberately make it examinable even.
Exactly.
You
But
know?
since the last financial crisis, 2008, 2009, they're not teaching ethics in business schools.
Very
Never used to
explicitly.
be that.
Yes.
It's excellent. So we need to also explicitly teach these values starting from early on.
But we must also lead by example, Doc, which is another problem where my concern is that the leadership does not. A lot of times we talk down to people. We're like, okay, we need to train the people. We need to do this. But the people who are duty bearers, they also need to set a standard. So like you're saying, take the TV off from my room. You're going to be modest and accountable as a leader. A lot of times we downplay this. But when people look at what leadership does, it basically shapes the way they behave.
Yes.
So there has to also be, which I come back to government, that the ministers, the CEOs have to have a certain posture to frugality, to accountability, to thrift in a way that communicates that we are in a new season.
Exactly.
But if you finish a conference, everybody sits in a V8 and jumps and goes home. Yes. Everybody has the AC blasting on while they're all waiting for the conference to finish.
Yes, in fact.
How do you expect the security man, the policeman who's guarding you to be thrifty?
Yes.
Because you've just finished a conference discussing austerity. Every person sat in a Land Cruiser.
Yes.
And somebody opened the door for them, they sit down and they go home. How do you expect me to think that you are broke?
The most interesting one is conferences on poverty. And the lunch break, the food, man.
Yeah. So Doc, I think that some of your work as NDPC and government has to be more on the government agencies to the research. CEOs and the people who are duty, because we look at you guys.
Exactly.
And then when we see you, say, wow, if this is how your man is behaving, within 2 weeks of becoming a minister, he's already smelling different, he's looking different.
But the most dramatic experience is what the young, because we're always saying, youth of today. And I say, well, the youth of today watch TV and they see MPs throwing chairs and whatnot. What do you really expect them? The youth of today are a reflection of the values of the adults who raised them.
They are fighting in secondary schools now.
Exactly.
Because Parliament is fighting.
So and Parliament can never really, given what happened, I don't think any MP can really criticize any young men and women who then go.
What's the moral authority of probing? Secondary school disturbance when you yourself were carrying tables?
Doing that. So you're absolutely right. Leadership by example is very critical. But we work with all these groups, skills development. In fact, I want to push for a point where, up to a point, it has to be free. It has to be treated as a public good. Because when the productivity goes up for them and incomes go up and revenue also goes up, the government benefits. So it's not everything, but government may want to bear, let's say, 90% of the cost. Because if you make it completely free, there's also the risk of abuse. So just an element to show some level of commitment, I think we should be able to transform. And this is also critical for the 24-hour economy, because people often think of it as 3 shifts and then everything is done. No, it covers the entire spectrum. Every business, whether they are working a single shift, double shift, 3 shift, must utilize their resources efficiently. It's the only way we can really get that done.
I need to say that the Statistical Service has been doing a great job. I agree. Past 4 years or so.
I agree.
Because even the usability of their research and the way they present it for the media to use, I need to commend.
I couldn't agree with you more. Prof. Inin has done fantastic.
I hope NDPC works with GSS.
Oh, definitely. Prof has been, I've known him for almost 20 years now from UCC.
Yeah.
And when he was looking into taking that job, we discussed it. I said, Prof, nobody is more qualified.
Is he an economist or a statistician?
He's an economist.
He's amazing.
Yes, but he's introduced some refinements that most people don't know. Because I've worked in the States, I'm used to certain things that for a long time we didn't have. Now he's introduced them. Now we have percentage increases or percentage contributions to economic growth, which we never had before.
For specific?
No, so that one is different from percentage growth. So for example, you have GDP growth of, let's say, 6.7%. I have that on my laptop.
Yeah.
6.7%. The question is, how much did each sector contribute to that 7%?
Okay.
Not as a share of the overall economy, but that growth. And it's critical because when you look at the trend, the biggest contributor to that 6.7% has almost always been the mining sector. They contribute 30% of the 6.7%, and it's known as percentage points, which is different from percentage per se. Now, Prof has introduced that. So I was in South Africa. I said, Prof, you are making my life difficult because when I go to your website now, I can't leave.
But just a quick point on that. So, the mining sector is doing a lot.
Yes.
And inherent there is also the Galamsey question.
Yes.
Because some of the, because what I've seen is that some of the numbers that are reported officially in terms of what we exported, they don't necessarily tally with what the countries that receive our gold say they got.
We've said that, yeah.
Now, so that discrepancy may be a Galamsey discrepancy, where people are informally mining, and their gold or whatever they mine gets to another country through unorthodox means. And so, for example, the amount of gold that we export officially has to tally with the amount of gold that our top 5 gold importers get. So I'm just saying that this statistic about productivity in the mining sector, we have to also add it to the discussion on Galamsey to try and understand what's going on there and maybe why it's so difficult to tackle it. Because maybe, even though we are not admitting it, informal and sometimes unregulated mining plays a more critical role than we want to admit, despite its environmentally destructive tendencies. And that has to be brought into the conversation for the solution to be more effective.
Yes. I agree. This very study, I think, looked at the formal mining sector.
Okay.
And not necessarily the informal or the Galamsey sector. The Galamsey sector is obviously very complicated. There's a lot of money that flows through there, billions of dollars that are not really captured in the official statistics. So you're absolutely right. That's something we need to look at. But Galamsey is also a reflection of failed governance institutions.
Yeah.
If they're working, I don't think, how could somebody bring in a grader all the way from Korea and end up in the forest in Ghana from Tema, travel overland and end up behind somebody's house in one of the regions? It's a failure of governance institutions, the same way we feel. So I think overall public sector reforms certainly should take a look at some of these issues. And those are the operational issues. When in the session that I sat in, I thought that we needed to break down our recommendations or discussions into various groups. Some of them are operational, some are institutional, some are policy related, some are structural. The structural problems would take a lot longer to address, but at least you need to flag them now and begin to work on them. And education is one of them.
Just a final point on this, and I encourage listeners to get the labor productivity report. I think that's what it's called, right?
Right.
The 3 main sectors, industry is clearly more productive than agric and services. Now, this is an important point because, there's this school of thought that Ghana must transition from agric into services because industrialization, we can never compete. But this document tells us that industry is still more productive than services, which I find interesting.
It's interesting because industry encompasses a lot of sub-industries or subsectors. So this very statistic, for instance, may be skewed by the dominance of mining, which is part of, because industry is made up of mining, quarrying, manufacturing, construction. Construction, for instance, has very low productivity and low employment.
That's surprising.
It shouldn't be, but if you look,
why is it so low?
Because of the obstacles of construction sector. We just before we came in, we were discussing the issue of land litigation and its negative impact on construction.
So
there are so many factors that drive that, and so productivity is low, and employment also is low. The same as the hospitality sector. So again, it goes to institutional reforms to free these things. I think you mentioned the amount of litigation going on for the.
No, so yes, yesterday the road minister was on the Pokwasi of Fankor to Isawam Road. And we are told there are over 80 court cases basically hampering parts of the project on the Amasaman side.
So when I took over and they said they were organizing an infrastructure summit, I reviewed the concept note, and I noticed that there was nothing on land use or LUSPA, Land Use and Spatial Development Authority, broadly speaking, spatial planning. And this is something we explicitly took into consideration when we were preparing the 40-year National Development Plan. We paired infrastructure development, which we would call the Ghana Infrastructure Plan, 9 volumes of it, with the Spatial Development Framework, which was 3 volumes but very dense, that the two should always be looked at together. You can never look at infrastructure outside of the context of spatial planning or human settlement. So the two should go together. And hopefully when the conference comes on, we will be able to...
Final point. There are people who do not see the point in 40-year plans. And I've heard some of them say, things are moving too quickly. They say we are in a VUCA world. They use something uncertain, chaotic, whatever. So it's like, it's a 40-year plan is not realistic because the variables are so many and too many things changing. So I want you to explain, if you say you have a 40-year plan, so let's assume from 2020 to 2060, is it to say this is what you want to do or this is just what you want to see?
Good. It's a vision. So this is what you want to see.
Okay.
And then within that are medium-term plans.
Okay.
That then try to operationalize what you want to see. So 40-year plan is an aspirational document. Nothing is cast in stone. But at least it gives you a sense of purpose, a sense of direction, which is then translated into medium-term plan. Because yes, some people may not be around in 40 years, but at least in the medium term, there's a reasonable expectation that we would be here, all things being equal. And then from that medium-term plan, you develop your annual plans, plus the budget to finance the annual plans. And even then, given the fact that there are no guarantees in life, the annual plan itself is subjected to what? Further revisions as things change. Look at what happened with COVID. It happened in March 2020. The plans we have for the year as a whole had to be revised. So yes, there are no guarantees, but that doesn't mean that we shouldn't dream about attaining higher objectives. That's just how it's been. So personally, when I hear people say, oh no, it cannot be done, you are too ambitious and whatnot, it just, as Marcus Garvey used to say, the more you told him that it couldn't be done, the higher up he rolled his sleeves. And you could see that in Kwame Nkrumah. Kwame Nkrumah, they said independence in the short just he said no, independence now. And he did it.
Could it be because, when you study economics from the first week, they will tell you there are different kinds of economies. And then they have the planned economy or the so-called
central plan. Plan.
So they make it, they sort of caricature that against a free. So basically, I think a more realistic economy is market-led, as against a centrally planned economy, which is, and then they look at the communist societies.
So it's become.
Could that be part of the reason for the skepticism?
It's a misconception. Believe it or not, even the most liberal country in the world, the United States, has a 100. They just don't plan. They have a 100-year plan for creating jobs, 1950 to 2050. And it's broken down in 10-year increments. That's one reason, because they plan. They just don't do things.
So it's a misconception.
They confuse centralized planning of the Soviet era, which is past and gone. You have the American one that's there, but it's not there. Nobody knows it's there, but it's actually used. And so if you Google OOH, Occupational Outlook Handbook, that's where they explain everything. OOH, Occupational. It comes from their 100-year plan. And it's 10 years. And it gives you every information you need about the job market in America.
Final point on this before we move on. And listeners, thank you for your messages. We'll read them shortly. You said, Garvey said, what others have done we can do, which is fine. Is there an African system? Should there be one? I ask this because everybody has his way. The Japanese have created something that works for them. The Chinese have found a way. The Koreans have blended things, the South Koreans. Now Vietnam, Thailand, a lot of these Asian tigers are rising quickly. Now, of course, we know that the Western world had a model that they used generally. All right, the Americans, the Germans, the British, the French. Is it possible to develop using their means, or we need to say, guys, we need to develop our own way?
There is no there's nothing under the sun, or try to reinvent the wheel or another. The miracles you see from East Asia actually borrowed from other parts of the world. They were not shy at all in borrowing from them. So you look at Japan. Japan, for instance, when they were building their railways, I think they brought in the Dutch. And in exchange for that, the Dutch had to train Japanese for them to build their own capacity. Lately, we've been discussing a lot about foreign aid. Japan was a major recipient of foreign aid, depending on how you review foreign aid has three main components. Subsidized loans, means low interest loans, grants, which is effectively free money, and then what we call technical assistance, where they bring in people to help you build it. You have emergency support and all that as a fourth category. But that's the three core elements of foreign aid. And the evidence shows that every single country that's developed today had a certain amount of foreign aid, including China. Japan borrowed the equivalent of about $10 billion after the end of the Second World War and invested them in very strategic industries, steel, highways, power plants, and that's what laid the basis for Japan's industrial development. And then in the same Japan, they developed, as a result of their success, they came up with something called the flying geese theory. Geese being the plural for goose, the difficulty of the English language. The flying geese theory. Now, the flying geese theory is that the lead geese, or the lead goose, the lead goose will lead up to a point and then peel off. And then another one steps in and then peel off another. So you see it happening like that over there. Japan did that, it peeled off. The Koreans stepped in. Now the
Chinese.
Exactly, the Chinese. And talking about Chinese, people don't know this, but Japan gave China foreign aid for 40 continuous years.
Japan gave China. These so-called avowed rivals.
40, you can Google all that. They just ended that after China overtook Japan as the second largest economy. Wow. But they gave them foreign aid in the form of subsidized loans, grants, technical assistance, and so forth and so on. China, that's just Japan. Others, as recently as a few years ago, I think during the last Trump administration, China was even getting $2 billion from the World Bank, and Trump got so angry, he said, no, we cannot do that. But even before that, dating back, you see, what we call foreign aid now is, the technical name is Official Development Assistance, ODA. That means before that, there used to be another type of foreign aid. But that was mostly driven by missionaries, foundations, and charities. Again, that's where the Americans were pioneers. So as I speak with you now, we believe that the most prestigious and highest ranked hospital in China was not built by the Chinese. It was built in 1921 by the Rockefeller Foundation as part of aid to China.
So we shouldn't shy away from this.
It's
about using it.
Exactly.
How to use it.
And you need to be very strategic as an aid recipient.
Okay.
Because sometimes those who give you aid also have their own motivations.
Oh, why not?
And so exactly why not?
Because there's not a problem there.
In 2015, we were negotiating with the IMF, and there were talks about the IMF capping how much we could borrow. I remember we went on a delegation with the president to a European country. I won't mention the name, and some of us had to hide in our hotel rooms because officials of that government were coming to our hotel, begging us to convince the finance minister to take in loans before the IMF things. And why? Because at the beginning of the year, they were giving targets. So if it's $2 billion, you get 10 countries, 200 each. And then all you have to go is to move from office, go to Ghana, look for someone. Listen, we'll give you 200 million, but 10 million is a grant.
So our job is to be strategic, to say, this money is coming. What can we do with it?
Yes.
So we can achieve our aim. And
First
also
of all,
possibly
you ask, how does it align with your development priorities?
Correct.
Because it may look attractive, but it may also distort your development priorities.
Correct.
And that's where so I've been reviewing our loan books, and the quality of the loans is so bad. Because they come in, as soon as they dangle a little money in front of them,
so we don't do a lot of thinking around.
We don't.
Which means it's even possible to get the donor to realign.
Precisely.
If you say that this can work, but you have to change this or that.
Sometimes they do. They do ask us for our priorities. And when that is done, they align. But there are other times where they also have already planned certain things.
Then you can say, well, we don't need your money then.
We have to be in a position. I do know that the South Africans do that. They actually are in a position to say, listen, we don't need this, we don't need that, because they have a highly efficient, besides the size of the economy, highly efficient tax administration system. I was telling my friends how the kind of Takashi, their tax people, they can actually go into your bank account and take money out if you owe them. And so they have a very high tax GDP rate, around 25%, one of the highest in the world. We are struggling to get to 15, and we can't even do that. So yes, there's nothing wrong inherently with aid per se, but you need to be able, because as I can't say, Onipa Yamwa. So we all at some point or the other need assistance. But the aid, and again, the name suggests that it's aid. It's not a substitute for your full effort. It's supposed to help you. And above that, if you look at China, South Korea, and Japan, what really triggered them beyond aid is international trade. For China in particular, the dramatic transformation is simply unbelievable. They started their reforms in 1978. They kind of struggled along and so forth until 2000, when American businesses convinced, I think, Bill Clinton to allow China to join the World Trade Organization. And then 2 years later, they took off. They haven't looked back since then.
And now they are the factory of the world.
They are the factory of the
because
world.
They are more productive.
They are more productive.
Even a lot of American companies had to go there to
the Americans
set
are
up.
actually pushing for that. That, listen, Clinton, open the market for us. We want to go there. So they then invested a lot of foreign investment.
So there's a way in which, this is your productivity point, if we become more productive within the sub-region,
yes.
Anybody who wants to do anything can say, look, Ghanaians are hardworking.
Precisely.
They speak good
Precisely.
English. They are very honest.
Precisely.
And that we could actually manufacture more things here. The benefits will spin off, and then the others benefits. So there's a lot to be gained in this productivity conversation.
That's what it's called, productivity diffusion. It spreads to other things. And for fiscal, it didn't really come up during the discussions at the dialogue. But I wanted to link the benefits of productivity growth, aggressive productivity growth, to fiscal resilience, not just fiscal consolidation. I don't even like the term fiscal consolidation because it means nothing. Consolidation can be anything. But we need, in fact, you're talking about me writing for Daily Graphic. The very first article I wrote for Daily Graphic was 1996, December. Someone showed it to me when I came back to go, but I had forgotten about it.
Wow.
And it was called The Language of Economics.
Oh, Lord.
And how the language we choose influences how we think and how we act. So I would prefer fiscal resilience
than
to
fiscal consolidation.
You can consolidate anything negative or positive, but with resilience, you are clear in your mind what you're going to do. And productivity, once you do that, and therefore you reduce the cost of doing business, at the very minimum, you also increase profitability, which grows the tax base, which is different from the tax net. The tax net is the number of people who pay taxes.
So you expand the potential number.
No, the base is what you actually tax. Profits, incomes, consumption, these are the three main elements of the base. And if you grow the economy through productivity, then my brother Atul will have fewer sleepless nights, because as finance minister, he has all the burden of the country on his shoulders. So there's a close relationship between productivity and fiscal resilience and fiscal
we could talk all day.
sustainability.
Caleb, read some comments for my guests. I notice you're nodding vigorously because when we interviewed Nimoy Thompson, we sort of we unclutter economics. Please get him some water as well. Forgive me. We don't. Maybe that's why I like talking to you, because I really don't like the language of economics. I think it's too exclusive. And as a journalist, I try hard.
Yes.
When I'm on the show and my colleagues ask me, so what does the budget say? I won't use words like fiscal rigidity. I hate those things.
And fiscal surplus and who cares?
I always say that if you can't explain it to your 10-year-old, you don't understand it. So sometimes you need to think about it so carefully. You can reduce it to what it actually tries to say. Well, when a group of big boys meet, they can use those words. But when you are talking to the public, they don't want to hear that.
You know what? And this is where the journalism thing comes in. Because when I used to be an editor in Liberia way back. And one of our reporters brought a court story. And in there, he said, "Writ of mandamus."
The lawyers are also like that. Writ of mandamus.
And he put that in quotation marks. So I called him and I said,
"What is this?
What is this?" He said he didn't know. So I said, "You don't know. I don't know. And you want us to share this with them?" What the hell is that? The fact that you put it in quotes doesn't absolve.
Because of that, a lot of my journalists are now going to law school because they want to understand mandamus.
So I asked him to call the lawyer for the lawyer to explain. And so the lawyer explained to him, and we put that in the story. So I said, "Now, don't you feel a little more enlightened? Now you are enlightened. I'm enlightened. We can also now tell the public that writ of mandamus." But that is the nature of some of the professions. We like to show off in our language.
No, but I think it's for me. You see, for me, it's not. I'm not emphasizing. If you don't even, and I don't want to use the word decolonize, but you see, the way language is a tool of oppression, it is also a tool for enlightenment,
liberation also.
So, the language of a subject area can influence the way you think about the subject and also make it very exclusive. So, for me, when I read anything, I try to say, look, if it's understanding we are trying to put across, let's simplify it so we can bring people along. Yes. Okay, but anyway, that's not the purpose of this interview.
Good morning, Bernard and team. I wholly agree with Dr. Nimoy Thompson. Cultural or behavioral change is the way to go. To achieve this, I believe our change should emanate from leadership and then the structure and content of our formal education. If we don't change our attitude and behavior to believe and have confidence in our own abilities to produce and consume our own, then we are going nowhere. The content of our education should also change our reading, writing, and reproducing same to creation, science, engineering, and how things are made. We will also not make any major progress if we don't. Lawyer Alex from Zooms. And that the Ghanaian worker is still a hunter-gatherer. We go to work only to win bread and to quench the various socioeconomic fires in the home. We lack the industrial work ethic. Good morning, Bernard. The truth is our curriculum isn't helping us as a country. Currently, my program of study has a course named Leadership, Corporate Ethics and Social Responsibility. So you see, we have master's graduates who can't even lead a department of government agency. We are 68 years after independence, yet our educational system isn't helping. Wish Mother Ghana better fit. Oh, Bernard.
Ghana, you are struggling. Let me read some comments for you. I think you are struggling.
He's getting emotional.
No. Let me read a few more comments. This is from a professor. Good morning, Bernard. Discipline is linked to productivity. The question is, are we disciplined? This is from a professor listening to us. Here's somebody who is also listening from the planning side. Bernard, the restriction of statistics to only 10% is not progressive, and they should change that. The focus on IGF is too much. The professor is really doing great. I don't know what you're referring to.
Yeah, I'm not
Kofi, if you can explain.
That, yeah.
Statistics to 10% and
I don't quite
focus on IGF. What?
Internally generated funds.
I don't know if he's talking about a specific institution. We need to develop a decentralized leadership where people come up with tailor-fit solutions for their respective communities, working in sync with national goals. Kojo Sego from Bonkatamanso. Good morning, team. Could you please pass this message to him? I'm interested in interning with the NDPC as the activities align with my career aspirations and would greatly enhance my personal growth. Well, there's a way of doing that, not through morning show listenership. Tell Iman that I'm listening to him.
Who's that? Someone who knows me.
he calls Ghana Kasongostan. This guy is Yao. You call Ghana Kasongostan.
Yeah, Bene.
Yes. Why is Ghana Kasongostan?
Because we do crazy things. He's probably referring to, I just noticed, I've been away for just a few years. I come back and everything is fake grass, which ticks me off. And I'm like, don't we think in this country? Now, fake grass, first of all, doesn't even absorb water.
Yeah.
And so it therefore enables flooding when it rains.
Yeah.
We have natural grass that God gave us. It absorbs water. And if we grow natural grass professionally, in the US it's called sodding, SODDING, because it's called sod.
Yeah.
And it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, growing green grass. They grow them in patches, and then they roll them like doormats, and then they spread them out. It's a multi-billion, and it goes with the construction industry. We can make, and then instead we've imported
I'll tell you something.
Fake grass.
I have a theory.
Yeah, I hear you.
I haven't written on that theory yet, but I have a theory that the AstroTurf fake grass is emblem, shortcut, import everything from China.
Okay. This one is from Turkey, I'm told.
Wherever.
Well, maybe the Chinese have also joined.
They'll do it, but my feeling is that growing grass is much tougher, and it takes much more determination. So even our footballers, we don't want them to play on normal. In fact, you don't even have mini parks. They just put this carpet on the floor, they play on it.
That's all job creation potential. That's all, and we can even export, because the Americans also export that to the Middle East, where they don't have. I mean, the potential in there of creating jobs. And I went to Parliament the other day, and on both sides of the entrance, they replaced the natural grass,
everything
with fake. Like, what is wrong?
It looks good.
Well,
that's what we do. We just want it to look nice.
No, I got out there and actually walked on it. It's very nasty because it's filled with sand and everything. It's like, oh, come on. So that's the Kasongo line thing. Yeah, I hear you, man.
Good morning, Bernard. I recall in business school those days when the issue of public sector reforms and work of NIRP came up.
Nope.
One of the reasons adduced for the failure or low impact, despite the loans and support, it emerged on the report was, quote, attitude was a factor that affected service delivery, unquote. So we were then requiring more funding from the funders to tackle attitude. Obviously, the funders declined, insisting that we should solve that one ourselves.
Yes.
So this is from
Very
John.
good.
So nobody can give you money to change your attitude.
Yes.
As a question though, Bernard, on the matter of plantain from Caribbean, is South Africa accepting imports from other African countries? Because now I know they do not.
No, they do.
They do?
Yeah, they have immigrant communities there that import foods. So there's the whole immigrant communities there. And by the way, when they removed the visa requirements from for Ghana, can you guess the percentage increase in Ghanaians going to South Africa as a result of the abolition of the visa?
25.
25. Try something higher.
30.
No,
40.
higher. No, higher. Let's,
50.
No.
60.
No.
70.
2,800%.
Sorry, you're saying when they removed the visa restriction,
yes,
the number of Ghanaians
arriving as quote-unquote tourists.
Oh, wow.
2,800%. And a lot of them are young men and women briskly doing business. I know one in particular opening restaurants all over the place. And he's telling me, listen, it's easier to do this here than in Ghana. Ghana, I have to pay 5 years rent advance. Here, I pay only my deposit and first month's rent, and that's it. And it's opening. So they're actually moving capital from here there and setting up businesses. So that's another thing that we need to look at in terms of developing the SMEs. But the increase, 2,800% increase. Yes.
What realistically can this government achieve? My last question.
Oh, let me share the thing with you.
Yes. Your father's, is it a cheat or what is it called?
No, it's called People's Shop Purchase Card.
Okay. Bring Chief Mumin. So I just segue into him nicely.
1983, Agunas Rodro.
Yeah, after the break, yes, I know.
And the community is called Asisim. Asisim is where he lived, and I grew up there. I went to school there.
This is near Agunas Rodro.
It's actually inside Agunas Rodro.
So he was giving. So to buy anything, he needs this.
You needed the People's Shop, and these were sold in government shops only.
Wow.
Isaac, how are you? Isaac B. Thompson. I was actually named after him.
That's your father.
That's why Yao was calling me Ayman. Ayman is my guy name, so to speak.
So you're a Rasta man.
You see. And I like reggae too. So here's the thing. It's fascinating just how far we can walk by JK. And I was listening to, my daughter forces me to listen to rap. There's this line from this guy called J. Cole. J. Cole, yeah. He has a song called Love Yours. And in there, and I thought it applies so much to Ghana, in there he says, the good news is you've come a long way. The bad news is you went the wrong way.
Oh, no. So what are you going to do now? Oh, God.
So we have, and that's what, because I thought it applies so accurately to Ghana, where we've made it. We've come a long way, 68 years.
Yeah.
No civil war, nothing. We are still what Nkrumah left for us. But we are celebrating 68 years in the IMF doghouse. So this is what he had. On 7th September 1983, he was allowed to buy one bread. 13 Ghana cedis. And don't forget, he had a family with my stepbrothers and stepmother.
So one loaf of bread.
One loaf of bread. On
13 cedis.
Yes.
7th September 1983.
Yeah. And then he went back on the 22nd, 20th.
2 weeks later.
Yes. And he was sold one bread only. But that one had gone up to 15 cedis by then. And then 28th, he
Another
went back.
week after.
Yes, he was sold one bread at 15 cedis. Then at that point, somehow he was lucky because these things used to go in and out. So somehow he was lucky. He's now giving milk.
Wow.
Which is like a luxury.
So he got milk the week after.
So he got milk, one can of milk.
Oh, Lord. One
tin of milk. And then 5th, I don't know what explains the gap, but 5th, I suppose when there's nothing, you are pretty much on your own.
So 5th
So 5th November 1983, one margarine, I think it's...
So the whole of October, I didn't get anything.
You are pretty much on your own. So one margarine tin rice, that's 10 cedis. Then 1 quarter soap, key soap.
Still
that's
November.
16 cedis. Still November, the same date. And then matches, 6 boxes.
So even matches... So to get these things, you needed
the card.
And he was a civil servant.
He was a civil servant. That means he actually was part of the
was a
middle
big man.
class. Yes. And then matches, and then they charge you freight. Freight was 80 cedis. So someone has to deliver. And then it goes on in November 8th or something. Yeah, 8th. So 3 days later, he gets milk, omo, sugar, and oil. And then bread. This is where we've come from. Work by Jake indeed.
Wow. And we have a long way to go as well.
Yeah, we have a long way to go.
Look, I need to thank you, Doc. I could talk to you all day. He's actually the chair of NDPC. We've been discussing independence, economics, and everything else in between. Interesting you mentioned Wogbecheke because Chief Momin, one of my favorite performances of Chief was Wogbecheke.
yes.
Which he did. How many years ago is this?
10 years now, since we launched,
right,
2015.
Right.
Yes, some one poem to share, one or two actually.
Both of you are in your fugu. So both of you are Nkrumahs. You are dressed like the Nkrumahs people at Independence.
Yeah.
We're still on the City Breakfast Show.
At long last.
Stay with us.
Unleashing the power of relevant radio. This is City 97.3.
Afifo Free Provident Insurance Bema Kwentwa Odessa. If you January equal see March 2025. What the insurance one some share Provident Insurance and sa. Some renew and now we have for Benya Chadia P. Emufua coupons and Provident Souvenirs Papa B. Enti wo change. One and WhatsApp assistant or buy and chat is here. 024-242-6396. Obeso to out Obetumin Swakwa 15 branches. Yet to a petit gun and a mobile. Obetumin Sunny brokers and agents in the mobile this was. Janami and Sunny na Provident Insurance as some Ghana man some power Makonia Badi wa Wabambo Massa special for you for Kaisan Shaka.
With Provident, man, you're covered.
First impressions matter. Make yours unforgettable with the irresistible scent of Princess Body Mist and Roll-On. Designed for every lady who wants to leave a lasting impression wherever she goes. And for our gentlemen, there is Style Up Perfume and Roll-On. Elevate your presence with a confident, masculine fragrance that keeps you dry and fresh all day. Because your fragrance should speak before you do, use Princess Body Mist and Roll-On and Style Up Perfume and Roll-On. Your daily essentials for smelling good from dawn till dusk. Princess and Style Up. Smell good and feel great together. The GC brand. It's all about you. This advert is FDA approved.
Join the conversation on the City Breakfast Show on Facebook at facebook.com/City97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/City973, and Instagram at instagram.com/City973 with the hashtag CityCBS.
This is the City Breakfast Show, the city's biggest conversation.
All right, before we get into our next interview, if you're looking for litigation-free land, contact Royal Kingdom Estate. We specialize in land acquisition, construction, design, property management, and more. With properties in prime areas like Accra and Ibri, with land starting at 90,000 cedis. We have flexible payment plans, affordable homes ranging from 2-bedroom and premium furnished apartments for short rentals at East Airport. Visit our cantonment office opposite Soak Lake International or call 055-755-909. Royal Kingdom Estate, building communities, nurturing dreams. Now, play, win, and celebrate. Now, test your skills in Owari Ampeludu, and more prizes await the champion on 15th March 2025. There'll be lots of fun, games and activities. Now we're talking about Ghana Month celebration at the Achimota Retail Center. Mark your calendars and join us as we celebrate the Ghana Month celebration with lots of fun and shopping experience at the Achimota Retail Center. Visit our social media platforms, Instagram and Facebook at Achimota Retail Center. It's on the 22nd of March 2025. Buy Diamond Cement. The highest grade is 42.5. There's also the 32.5 hour cement. A better deal for your pocket. Rated green by the EPA. A great brand for you to associate with. We have factories in Aflao, Takrady, and Buipe. Call us on 0244313368. Diamond Cement, still as hard as a diamond.
Hope. Hope can be such a fickle thing. In one moment you are filled with it, buoyed up with excitement and great expectations. Yet in another instant you feel it drain away, drying up your dreams, shrinking your visions, but still you gasp for hope, however miraculous the prospects. Such great hope Osagyefo might have felt at the dawn of liberation for the promise of his nation, seething with excitement and great expectations. How wondrously he planted his ambitions, how assiduously he nurtured them to grow his new paradigm for all the people he called his people. How bold his hope on board the flight to Hanoi as he left his beloved Ghana, unbeknownst to him, never to feel its warmth again. What icy chill might have shot through Nkrumah's hot blood when the news got to him of his overthrow. How Nkrumah might have struggled in the coming days, months, and years to keep hope alive through his many letters and broadcasts, that someday he might return to finish the work he started. And then in 72, when a champion and the NLC prevailed with their coup, how Nkrumah would have been filled with a sudden rush of hope. Hope that he might finally get to return home to a triumphant welcome. Alas, how short-lived hope can be. 2 years later, as Nkrumah lay dying in a cold hospital bed in Bucharest, painfully far away from his Ghana, away from all the ambitions he nurtured, what last thoughts went through his mind? Hope that he might yet still survive and return. Hope that his dreams would endure even after he expires. Hope. Such hope General Achampong might have felt in the early days of his reign, how confident in his gait, the appointed general to fix the country, to restore the dreams of its luminous founding visionary, how brisk and earnest and somewhat carefree in his work. What had to be done, and damn the consequences. Hope can be such a fickle thing. 79, an uprising, a vampire nation baying for blood, how hopeless it might have felt for the general on his way to the end, driven by a young man he considered a son, lined up with the others and tied to the stake. Cameras rolling, a restless crowd eager. In those final moments, what thoughts went through his mind? Hope for a miracle that might set him free back to his farm, to his home. Hope that history will be kind to him, and that someday in the rubble the nation will know that he didn't deserve this. The soldiers fired, the bullets riddled his body, he slumped, lifeless. Hope was silenced. Perhaps until now, we are digging through the rubble, we are excavating the pages of history, we are telling a full story, we are igniting the general's hope. Hope that we may appreciate his place in the Ghanaian journey. Hope that we may continue the work towards self-reliance. We are telling a full story, that we may better chart our own course ahead, that we may not pass on the pain and prejudice of a passing era so our children can inherit our lessons and hopes for the coming generations. Our nation's body is riddled with many bullets, festering with many wounds, and we continue to limp ahead. But we are not broken, and we continue to gasp for hope, because hope beats time, and only time can heal, only time can reveal, only time can forgive, only time can restore.
It's the hope that kills you, but we will hope nonetheless.
Absolutely.
Well, if we are without hope, then why are we even living? Just 11 minutes to 10, and I don't have a lot of time, but with Chief Mumin, we can do a lot with it. Welcome.
Yes, thank you very much. Yes, Bernard, yes.
How are you doing?
We've been working hard in the background, but we're doing very well.
I think you've evolved, though, because I have seen you've gone a bit under the radar,
yes,
but working a lot harder.
Yes.
And visible in different spaces now.
Yes.
How has it been?
Well, I mean, we did work budget from 2015 to 2018. It was a labor of love. It was expensive, ran into debt, and it was, intellectually, physically, financially, it took a toll. So it was important for us to go back to the drawing board and to see how can we make this work? And so I had to study the creative economy, creative businesses all around the world, and come out with a formula. And so that's when we started the Mansa World, which I announced in 2018. And the basic concept of the Mansa World is really to create a world of interconnected content across multiple platforms. So theater, film, comics, animation, theme parks, featuring different stories. Because in the world of IP, when you create an IP that is successful, it can have different iterations in different life forms. So you can extend the shelf life of a product. So when you watch my theater production and you loved it and you love the music and there's a music album, you'd want to download it. If there's a movie coming out of that content, you'd want to see it, right? If I have merchandise, you want to buy it. So this is what we decided to do with the Mansa World. So now we launched the Mansa World, which is a world telling African stories on the global scale in the most epic way, if possible. And of course, theater is our competitive advantage. That's what we've started with, and then we'll branch into other forms. And also trying to make a business case to get significant investment, because there's just a glass ceiling that you can't break in our part of the world, because we don't have the resources that we can create content that can compete globally. So we were very deliberate in trying to get a group of local investment, starting with some Ghanaian business leaders. We chased them for like 5 years consistently. A number of them came on board. Now we're now expanding our reach, bringing on board international partners and international business people. Next week on the 11th, we'll be signing a major partnership with UNESCO in Paris, which is a major endorsement for a Ghanaian creative project. So yes, we've been...
For those who don't know what Mansa World is,
yes,
can you break it down? Who is Mansa? Is it Mansa in my house or Mansa Musa?
Well, so we picked the name from the title of the ancient kings of the Mali Empire, which means the emperor, right? And so we are trying to create a new empire of African creativity, an African story. So it's a world of content. And we started with a play on the one of the most considered the wealthiest person, right, or one of the most wealthiest person in the world, which is the ancient king of Mali called Mansa Musa, who went on this extravagant, extraordinary Hajj with a caravan of almost 60,000, carrying so much gold. The world was in wonder, from Africa to Arabia, from Asia to Europe. Gold. I'm quoting from the play. So we're doing it. So we have this fantastic production that we've put about him, as a stage musical, which we stage on the 24th of January, and we're doing a rerun next week, Saturday, actually, at the National Theatre. And that's like our debut product, from the Mansa World. And we created a music orchestra out of it. We are working on our music albums, and we've started engaging to do other product out of it. But essentially what we are trying to do is to build an African cultural product that can tour the world and that can command enough attention and commercial success like any of the major productions. People who watch our productions go like, oh, this could be as big as the Lion King. And if you know the Lion King franchise, the franchise alone is worth $20 billion. So that's the movie, the stage productions, the merchandise that come out of it. I think that, and the Lion King is based on an African aesthetic when you see the theater production. So if others could derive such economic value
from our
cultural aesthetic, what are we doing? It's just like the Garvey Code. If others can do it, we can do it. So I studied around the world. I saw what people have done. The year that I started work, Hamilton started in the United States. Hamilton now is $1 billion theater production about their founding father, Alexander Hamilton, by Rahm Emanuel, We all started the same year, and you can see the trajectory. So for me now, the world is my stage, and the big productions are my competitors. And I think that I can create cultural products that can compare anywhere in the world.
Is there demand for African aesthetic in the form that you talk about?
Yes. I mean, we're entering into a golden age of African culture and creative art. And that's one of the pitch I've been making to investors, that if we do not invest in telling our own stories today, the rest of the world would invest in telling those stories. Because if you look at it, Europe, America, Asia, they have invested a lot in telling their stories. So now the new raw stories to come out of the world, Africa is actually a green territory. And you can already see how some of the major international labels, whether it is music, whether it is film, are pitching camps trying to see what is hot, what is coming out of Africa. In music today, we can already see the success of African music. So now there is an appetite, and also an appetite for empowering African content because of the global black diaspora, who are tired of the projection of Africa over the years, slavery, colonialism, disease, poverty. So people are looking for narratives that contradict these stereotypes that we are used to, right? So there's now a demand or an interest for powerful African stories, and just the need for that diversity of stories on the global stage. So I think that there's a great opportunity, and everywhere we've gone, there's that acknowledgement. And so it's up to us really now to be at the, if I may use that term, commanding heights of our creativity.
So in terms of demand, eyeballs and things, it's there. What would it take for the finance to respond in equal measure? Because I was thinking, once people are watching, you fill the National Theatre, you are filling big halls around the continent. The business case should be easy, but there seems to be some hesitation from the business side to really back this? Where is this coming from?
No, because our in Africa and Ghana, for example, our businesses are not used to this kinds of business, the creative business, right? We're used to traditional kind of import and export and all of the things that we talk about. So the creative industry is a niche industry. And we are still not making as much money locally because locally, when I tell the investors that this business is not for Ghana alone. I mean, in fact, Ghana is just the building ground. It's a global stage. It's a global business. So compare me to what others have done. None of my productions have made profit yet since I started. All of these years have been. In fact, every production we do, we run a deficit because the market is too small. The kind of productions we do require huge investment, and you just do it for 1 day, 2 days, at most 2 weekends, right? The theater model is that your theater production should stay in the theaters for 3 months, for 6 months, for years. Lion King has been staging for 25 years. One production, it has gotten over 100 million people to see it or to buy tickets to see it. So my model is that let us see the world now as the global market, because Ghana, some of the investment we're looking for, Ghana is too small. We're trying to raise millions of dollars.
Would they require, though, okay, let me rephrase the question. What should a government do to catalyze this? Is there some subsidy they need? Is there some foundation? Because this is a public good as well.
Yes,
so just like electricity or water, that we find a way of pricing so that we get the benefit, or even education. Do you have any recommendation for what government should do in addition to private sector coming on board, so this gets at least a base on which to stand?
I mean, this is a bigger conversation. I mean, first of all, infrastructure and government can stimulate the growth of the industry, right, through tourism. Because, for example, if you have a lot more tourism people coming in, tourist numbers coming in, if we have 10,000 people moving through the country every month, there's demand for culture, right? So that is guaranteed audience, and that audience can then feed into different things. So government can play those big roles, but basic things like infrastructure, right? The National Theatre is really tired. You know, the facility has been run for so many years without any major renovation. There isn't equivalent National Theatre in any of the other regions. So even taking productions on tour is a big issue, because you now have to go and look for auditoriums and all of that. If you had mini theatres and auditoriums, and every government has promised something like that, that's like a network of theatres that is well resourced. When I say well resourced, light, sound, and all the things that you need, you know, you can do a production and take it on a reasonable tour. Look at Alliance Francaise. Alliance Francaise, small institute here in Ghana, but it probably does more for the creative community.
Yes, true.
You know, especially non-mainstream performers than probably even our government institutions, because they have the facility, they are regularly running shows. So
there's always something going on there.
And people go there to try out. So a lot of these young people, some of them indie artists, that's where they actually get their break and showcase their work. And it's an enabling environment. So something as simple as even a simple amphitheater with light, with good light, with good artistic, has been a springboard. Weale and all of them used to perform. Manifest, when he started his manifestivities, was always at Alliance Francaise, right? So that's just so sometimes it's not even a lot of money that you need to make big impact, especially for a space like the creative industry in Ghana that doesn't attract, you know, a lot of money. But for me, it's not just about the government, it's about the private sector. All around the world, what you see is that art is financed by individuals, whether as philanthropy, as cultural, you know, building your own civilization. So that the Carnegies, you know, then when they made their money, what else did they do? Carnegie, the Rockefellers, they built, you know, I mean, we have the Carnegie Hall, you know, in New York. That's one of the big music halls. You know, it's been for decades with endowments, right? So probably people of wealth, and I'm not even talking to this older generation because that battle is lost. It's to us. Some of us who make money, right? When we make money, can we become patron of the art? Because art is not just about the returns, you know, but what it does for the soft power, the minds of your people. And you're talking with Neboy Thompson. How do we change attitudes? How do we socially engineer our people to think and act and see themselves in a certain way?
I have 2 questions and I have a minute. Let's talk about France. Are you going to France, or you've been to France?
So we launched the Mansa Ward at the UNESCO headquarters. We took a team of 60.
In Paris?
Yes, 2 years ago. It was a big performance. And now we are following up with a partnership, you know, agreement we're signing with them on
Wonderful.
Tuesday.
So that's a big endorsement.
That's a big endorsement.
Which is a success. What are you doing in a week's time?
So next week, Saturday, we are rerunning our very successful debut theatre production, Mansa Musa and the Trail of Law School, at the National Theatre.
What times?
It's at 3:30 and 8 p.m.
So there's an 8 p.m. version?
Yes, and it's at 3:30 p.m. So
next Saturday?
Next Saturday. And it's a big production, you know, about one of Africa's wealthiest, you know, eras. And it's a fascinating production, I can tell you.
We will enjoy it. Yes, can we come with kids?
Yes. I mean, all our shows are kids-friendly. Kids are actually an important target of what we're doing. And so if people want more information, they can just log on to www.themansaworld.com. So Mansa, the way we spell Mansa, MANSA world.com. It has all the information about the show. It's a fantastic.
I'll tell listeners more about this in the coming days.
Yes,
Thank you, Chief Moment. Always great talking to you.
Thank you.
Sorry for keeping you waiting for long. What a morning. Independence Day celebrations going on at the Flagstaff House or Jubilee House. It's 68. Chief Moment passed through with a poem and with a story and a pitch and a performance that will crown a very fantastic month. The Heritage Caravan team is now in Sunyai and they'll be moving to the Ashanti region this morning. Thank you for listening. We are back on Friday with a special edition of the show. My name is Bernard Avle. I did this with Caleb Kuda. Coming up next, City News at 10 with a Juby. We are Fia Kenting. Good morning.
Good morning, Bernard. Hello and welcome to City News at 10.